Tick-tock, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. I can tell just by glancing over all the comments that just popped up that Tarun must be in the chat because I already see people arguing about vegetarianism and veganism. Got Carol B here saying, my daughter is vegetarian because she thinks animals are disgusting. So we already know our friend Tarun is here spreading his views on veganism and telling people to go to his channel to find out the truth about veganism. Anyway, we've got other things to discuss other than veganism. AP.
Yes.
As the one who literally composed the song Mourning the Death of Yahya Sinwar. How crazy this dude literally has sin and war in his name. I mean, it's right there in his name. I am Sinwar! 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 Sinwar!
I am the sin of war. Yeah. I'm listening to the song on the side. I'm very, very heavily invested into the whole DJ business right now, and thinking of opening my own club and playing this party song in that club just for this song. That's what I do.
It's pretty base that after your last song got an entire channel taken down, that you're going ahead and posting more of your songs lamenting.
Well, the difference is that this song is basically a festive celebration of the death of Yahya Sinwar, and it's basically like a rave song that is just called Yahya Sinwar is dead, and it doesn't have a bunch of lyrics. It just says
it doesn't
Yahya
have
Sinwar.
clever lyrics. It's more like ding dong, the witch is dead, witch, the wicked witch, ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. It's like that level.
Yeah, the other song that I published on the other channel was more from the perspective of somebody who loves Hassan Nasrallah, and it was cleverly written and all that, if I say so myself. And
it was one of the greatest love ballads of all time.
And it was taken down because YouTube took it seriously as a
love ballad for a
yes. So yeah, that's the difference. That's why I published this one.
All right, so I still can't get over the guy's name, man. Like if people were chanting your name, Sin, War, Sin, War, Sin, War, Sin, War, it would kind of tell you a lot about the group you're in. If they're just chanting Sin, but you'd just be calling out a dude's name. That's crazy. So anyway, that guy, he was one of the few who was. Do we have to update our decks of cards? Where's my deck? My deck of cards.
Yeah. I haven't been updated.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, hang on. So he was one of the remaining guys because we had to actually update like Ismail Hania when we got that did not say eliminated on it. It comes with a pack of stickers. Let me just see who's in here. Let's see. I'm not sure. See, for people who collect things, you wonder if you're supposed to actually open them or keep them in pristine package. Oh, there he is. He's the Queen of Hearts. He's the Queen of Hearts, dude. Yahya Sinwar is the Queen of Hearts. Okay, so here we go. These playing cards come with these little eliminated stickers as they get eliminated. So you actually have to update your cards. Again, I don't know from a trading card collecting view if you should keep them in mint condition or add these stickers, but
the funny thing is on my deck that I have, which is a different one, he is the ace.
Whoa.
You see?
That's weird. We have different editions, man.
Yeah, I also don't have those stickers because I probably received them, but then I threw them away because I thought they were.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Well, that's life. That's life.
I'm going to write it on here now.
That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, blown up in October.
So the news are true. The funny thing is, in the morning I saw that Yahya Sinwar is dead, and I see photos and footage of his body dead, and it looks very much like him. But until I get official confirmation from the IDF and from Israel, I still didn't share it as if it was true. I was just like just following the news and sharing what other people say, and then finally it came in. Finally, multiple Israeli sources said confirmed DNA matches. Yahya Sinwar is dead, and then eventually, finally, the IDF itself posted on Twitter, just very, very simply, eliminated Yahya Sinwar, and that was just such a beautiful thing to see.
For you. For other people, it was heartbreaking. I mean, imagine if Syrian girl were here right now, listening to what you're saying. How heartbreaking she would be. Someone asked, "Who's the Ace of Spades?" Well, it's interesting because apparently the decks are differently. The decks are different. Abu Ubaidah is the Ace of Spades in my deck of cards here. Abu Ubaidah. All right. So, guys,
I had to go through mine to figure out who it is.
Yeah, guys. So our plan now is we're going to watch Netanyahu's new message after the death. Then we're going to look at something that's been trending that I shared. AP has pointed out that there is an alternative story. Uh-oh. Whoa. Yeah, that one's cooler. I like him better as the Ace of Spades. Huh. There we go.
That's funny.
It is interesting that because I ordered it after you had yours and stuff. Apparently, they change them pretty regularly. Anyway, we're going to check out Netanyahu's speech.
Actually, you can still order these and you can order those. They are different sets. They are different. These are just mine
like
include
them all. Trade them with your friends.
Yeah, mine are a different set from yours. Mine is called Axis of Evil, and yours, I think mine includes like people from the entire region, and yours only from Hamas or so. I don't know. Yeah, that's one.
All right, everyone. So we're going to watch a quick public service announcement to jihadis everywhere from Bibi Netanyahu. Then we're going to check out something that's been trending, but there's an alternative story. And then we're going to get into this debate between Mehdi Hasan and Jonathan Conricus. We're going to watch that. All right. But first, I think we should have a moment of silence for Yahya Sinwar. The goats said it all. The goats said it all. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
When I first heard of him passing, I couldn't believe it.
Wait, AP.
What?
We got to do it. We got to do it once for the old time's sake. Okay, you be the lady. You be the lady during the interview. Go ahead.
Well, how does it go again? Okay.
She just start talking about Yahya Sinwar.
Yeah, so and Yahya Sinwar and
I don't mean to interrupt you, but we've just got breaking news that Yahya Sinwar has been confirmed dead. There we go. Classic.
He's dead. I can't believe
it. Bloom said he was hiding in the building and a drone found him. He tried to kick it with a stick or something. He was sitting in a chair. He did seem like he was moving. I haven't watched much of it. I just saw, like, as I'm scrolling through, I saw some of the clips on there. Looked like he was still alive, but like blown up in his chair.
What actually happened, and I want to quickly check if my knowledge on it is updated or not. But what actually happened is that he was hiding.
Boy.
Not inside that building. You're hiding, boy. I said. So,
why would he be hiding? I thought they loved death.
IDF troops noticed suspicious figures entering and exiting a building in their vicinity, after which an order was given to engage. At 3 p.m., an IDF drone detected 3 individuals exiting the building, 2 covered in blankets and clearing the path for a third. The soldiers opened fire and the group scattered, 2 entering one building, and the third, later proven to be Sinwar, entering another building and climbing on the second floor. An IDF soldier was severely injured in the fight which ensued. A tank then fired a shell at Sinwar's location. An infantry soldier began to sweep the building when 2 grenades were thrown at them. 1 exploded and 1 did not. The troops then pulled back and sent in a drone which detected an injured figure with a covered face, attempting to knock it out of the air with a stick. Sinwar was finally killed when part of the building collapsed on top of him. So that's
trying to knock it out with a stick.
Yeah, they were hiding. They were trying to.
Funny,
they were covering themselves with blankets and trying to move from one location to the other unnoticed. So they were hiding. They weren't in a confrontation. They were forced to confront and eventually got killed.
I liked his old. Isn't that the guy that they said used to dress up like a girl to hide?
Yeah.
Was that him? Yeah. That would have probably been a better idea.
Yeah.
Problem was he couldn't. I don't like making fun of people's ears, but yeah, I know you did earlier. He said what's going to happen to his ears. I was like, he couldn't hide his ears under a wig or something like that. Yeah, that's messed up. That's AP joking, ladies and gentlemen. It's not acceptable here. You see, bad company does corrupt good character.
No, I was wondering if they're gonna put his ears on eBay, like to
earbay.
Buy. No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's wrong with you? Why? All right. So here we have, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Netanyahu posted an update for all the jihadis of the world earlier today. Let's check it out.
Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave.
Why are you laughing?
I love how he said it.
Yeah, that's how he starts off. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Yes, I'm talking about Yahya Sinwar. Here we go.
Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza...
Hold up. We're just at the beginning? The beginning of the end? All the stuff that's been going on?
He died like a dog.
Yeah, someone put that in a super chat. We'll check that out in a second. He died like a dog. He was eating the dogs, and then he died like a dog. He was eating a dog. They actually caught him. I've heard reports that he was actually eating a dog when he died like a dog.
To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow.
That's true.
It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages. Hamas is holding 101 hostages in Gaza, who are citizens of 23 countries, citizens of Israel, but citizens of many other countries. Israel is committed to doing everything in our power to bring all of them home. And Israel will guarantee the safety of all those who return our hostages.
Anyone who return, wow, hey guys, that is important, right? In other words, if you're an otherwise bad dude and you're thinking, I'm doomed here, so I might as well keep these hostages. He just guaranteed your safety. He just guaranteed your safety if you're one of the people who comes and returns them. That is, I'd take that deal if I were you. Lest you end up like Yahya Sinwar.
You know what the alternative looks like. You can see it on your screens when you search for Yahya Sinwar.
It is crazy how the simplicity of, guys, this can end right now. Just surrender. Give us the hostages back. You've got all these protests around the world, and it doesn't occur to all the people who are screaming for a ceasefire to say, Hamas, just surrender and hand over the hostages. Then you get your ceasefire. No. We can't call on them to do that. Why? Because you actually agree with them. Well, what do you agree with them on? Endless cycle of violence. Wild stuff. So anyway, guys, could be over really quickly. And it's been pointed out over and over again. In war, your overall goal is to make the other side surrender. That's why we fought the Germans until what? Until we had evened some score? No, until they surrendered. We fought the Japanese until what? Until we got even for Pearl Harbor? No, until they surrendered. You fight until people surrender so that you can impose conditions to make sure that they never are able to do what they did again. That's the goal here. That and getting hostages back. But Israel's not allowed to do it for some reason. They're not allowed to fight until they make someone surrender and get their hostages back. Weird.
But to those who would harm our hostages, I have another message. Israel will hunt you down and bring you to justice.
I believe him.
I also have a message of hope to the peoples of the region. The axis of terror that was built by Iran is collapsing before our eyes.
That's true.
Nasrallah is gone. His deputy Muhsin is gone. Haniyeh is gone. Def is gone. Sinwar is gone. The reign of terror that the Iranian regime has imposed on its own people and on the peoples of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, this too will come to an end. All those who seek a future of prosperity and peace in the Middle East should unite to build a better future. Together, we can push back the forces of darkness and create a future of light and hope for all of us.
Alhamdulillah.
That's pretty
That's
base.
what should happen.
That's pretty base. So, couple parties involved here. If you're a terrorist, you're holding hostages. You need to go ahead. Just look at what you've done to your own region, to your own people. Look at what you've done. Recognize that you're wrong. Go turn yourself in with the hostages, and you're guaranteed safety. I would take that deal. Because if not, you're going to end up like Yahya Sinwar, and as much as you guys scream, "We love death, we love death," we don't believe you. We think that you don't actually want to die these horrible deaths. There are occasional guys that I believe it with, but most of you, I don't believe it. I just believe you really, 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 really hate Jews. That's what I believe. One more issue along these lines. AP.
Yes.
Let's see, where'd that go? All right, here we go. So this, I even shared this, but you've pointed out that there is a conflicting report. So Dr. Eli David here says, "Hi, Antonio Guterres." It's the head of the UN. This is the ID carried by Sinwar's bodyguard, and UNRWA. Guys, you need better. You need something that flows better. UNRWA teacher. Any comments? So this has been circulating, and it says right there. So they found this ID listed. There is his profession, and it's UNRWA teacher. You've pointed out that there are conflicting reports about this. Give us the latest breaking news, AP.
Yeah, so the initial reaction, the initial report is, so they found those different documents, including this passport here, which belongs to Hani Zurub, who is an UNRWA teacher. However, so they then assumed that Yahya Sinwar's bodyguard was actually an UNRWA teacher, and this has been widely shared by news organizations and other people. However, the same guy with the same appearance and by the same name has posted from Egypt saying, "Hey guys, there's a lot of information going around, and apparently they found some documents, but that is me. And I am here in Egypt. I am not dead. I'm not there." So now there are conflicting reports about what this is all about. And there are some speculations that Yahya Sinwar's bodyguards might have used some, desperate attempt of a fake identity, that they might have been killed in a house where this guy lives or something, or that something more fishy is at play. I don't know. But there are certain...
Or people can use like fake passports and stuff like that. It's kind of a goal. You get a passport that could look like someone else on your team, and that way if he ever needs to identify himself as a different person, he's got the passport of another guy with him.
Yeah. So at this point, it is not confirmed and not exactly certain what this is about. But yeah, they found this document from an UNRWA teacher in the possession of Yahya Sinwar and his little group.
And I bring that up. Nabil took a trip to Pakistan to visit family members, and he told me guys approached him outside of the airport when he got there and offered him, I forget what the currency was, but he said it was the equivalent of about 20,000 US dollars for his passport. And they said, and all you do is you'll need to go to the U.S. Embassy and say you lost your passport and so on. But do that when you're about to leave. So apparently they were going to grab it, jump on it. I guess they're just watching people show up and they're like, oh, this looks like my friend Abdullah. He could pass. Let's ask this guy for some. Or I mean, in theory, it could also be like a CIA thing. They're trying to find people who are willing to give up their passports or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that sort of thing happens using false fake identities and so on.
Yeah.
That happens.
Want to repeat once again for those speculating and saying, oh, he died like a warrior. He didn't die like a warrior. He was moving from one spot to the other,
He died like
sending his men forward, covered in blankets to clear the way, and then to have him come afterwards after they cleared the way. And he was also hiding under a blanket.
Hiding.
He was hiding.
That's why I'm hiding from it anymore.
Possibly giving the impression that they are civilian women or something like that, wearing niqabs. When the IDF spotted the group, at which point they didn't even know that it was Yahya Sinwar, but they were in the middle of an evacuated zone, a battleground. Didn't respond. Eventually were fired at, went into a building, tank fired at the building, hit Yahya Sinwar. They saw him with a drone, and then the building collapsed and he died. That's it.
I have to say,
I like a dog. Yeah.
If you know you're not making out of this, why would you not go out like a total boss, like as an example for other jihadis, right? Like run out to the window, make sure, Ahmed, you recording this? All right, make sure you're recording this. And then run over to the window, come get me, Jews! I love death more than you love life! Blah, 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 like Scarface, right? And then you go out like Scarface, and you're getting all shot up and going, you want to play rough? Let's play rough, right?
Yeah.
But no, he's trying to whack something with a stick in his Barco lounger over there.
Yeah, he was wearing a scarf on his head, around his neck, a very big one that he was using to hide himself. He was sending his guys forward.
A lot of Maybelline lipstick.
Yeah, he clearly wasn't there to fight. He was there to hide. Mm-hmm. That's what they have been doing. These guys are people who have spent all the money that they have received from different organizations and countries and people. They have spent all of their money on building an underground tunnel network under the civilian population. They would rather give up their own civilian population, the children, the women, the elderly, and so on, instead of going out and fighting. So these are the people we are talking about. They are a bunch of cowards and bloodthirsty filth.
Islam taking a lot of L's lately. You seen all the L's? Have they had any sort of win recently?
Nope.
Anything like in any form? I know there are some of them that would consider that still brag about October 7th as a win. Like since then, is there anything even they could consider?
Nope.
A win.
And that is very, very telling that they brag about October 7. Let them, because October 7 was a very heinous, a very disgusting, very evil, very messed up day. And if they're proud of that, but then they cry about the consequences, we know who we're dealing with.
Let's go through these. AP, you need to unban Pat's the leather strap from your channel. Not very base to have him banned. Also, good song using Suno.
I haven't banned anyone. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I have been using Suno a little bit.
Let's see. Green Peace of Mind says, my new favorite weekly recurrence is when either David or AP have a mic drop moment and transition into 17 seconds of caveman Dawah voice ranting. Makes me chuckle every time. Makes you chuckle to the truth of the Dawah and the power of Dawah. Yes, you may be chuckling now, but you'll be crying when Allah's peeling your skin off and replacing it with new skin. To burn that off again.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. He died like a dog. He died like a coward. Got that Here we have Tarun. Hey guys, 5 a.m. here in Bangalore.
I don't care about vegans. I don't care
I would
about...
like to invite all of you guys to come to our Hindu Heritage Festival. No vegans or Muslims there in Canada. Yeah, right. That's how they bait you in. Oh, there are no vegans here at our big vegan festival.
That's what all the cults say. Yeah.
They get you in there. They tell you everything. Yeah, come to our feast where we're going to be eating lots of chicken and stuff. And then you show up. Ha ha! It's fake lettuce chicken. It's chicken. It's chicken made out of lettuce and beets or something. It's wheatgrass chicken. We have an abundance of wheatgrass chicken. Nice try, Tarun. We're not falling for it.
Beast chicken.
You seen Apostate Aladdin's latest video? No. Have you seen it?
What? Why would I see that video?
I don't know either. You know, it's weird. Something popped up the other day, and it was you on Apostate Aladdin's channel like a couple years ago. And I was like, what? These guys are buddies? And then so anyway, I clicked on that to see if it was just him talking about you or if it was like you two actually together. And it was. But then there was another video that popped up since I clicked on that one. That was him on your channel. I was like, these guys used to be best buddies in the world. And now they're mortal enemies. Like me and Mike Wing are mortal enemies.
Here's the thing. From the very beginning, when he first came out and started making videos and all that, I saw that he has a problem with those of us ex-Muslims who are actually honest and
those of you who get all uppity. Know your place. You're an ex-Muslim. Be extremely sweet and keep your mouth shut.
So I knew about it. I was aware of our differences. However, even when he was kind of an idiot at the very beginnings, I thought, you know what, I'm used to this. I tend to be very, very, very harsh, tend to be aggressive and all that. I know that some people don't do that. I know that some people are like softies and all that, but I don't want to rebuke them. I just, I want to support them, even if they are like that, and even if they are against me, even if they don't like me. So I did agree to get together with that guy back then and go on his channel and also have him on my channel to promote him. I even put people like that on my featured channels list and all that. But then he
betrayed you, stabbed you in your back repeatedly, stabbed you in your back. You let it slide. Stabbed you in your back again. You let it slide. Stabbed you in your back. Kept stabbing you in your back until you looked like the apostate porcupine with all these things sticking out of your back. And then...
And eventually I said, I didn't want to do this. I did not want to do this.
You brought this on yourself. You brought this on yourself.
You have forced me to do this. So that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. And now Apostate Aladdin has his 2 followers all to himself. Who else thinks Bibi should preserve Sinwar's ears and hang them on his wall to make Hamas lover angrier?
I don't think he should be doing that unless he's like he's
could have them on a necklace, but it might weigh you down. That was from Universal Soldier. That was Dolph Lundgren's character, was chopping off ears and making necklaces out of them.
Yeah, unless he's Vlad the Impaler, he shouldn't be doing that.
Let's see. From Tarun, we have again nothing to do with nothing to do with veganism, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Elon Musk has nothing to do with like engineering and space and all that stuff.
Right.
Again, nothing to do with veganism, but I have heard a certain Sham Sharma and a certain Daniel Boardman will be there. I hope to be there too. Okay, so if you guys like Sham Sharma and Daniel Boardman and wheatgrass chicken flavored wheatgrass, check out Tarun, the festival Tarun was mentioning.
I collaborated with Sham Sharma in the past. He's actually a very nice guy. So.
What do you call a pig in Gaza? Ham... But right. Can you please explain AP? Can you please explain Sunan Ibn Majah 2540? You gonna pull that up?
Yes, I'm trying to sort my deck right now. Sunan Ibn Majah, what?
25, like a quarter, and 40, like how old I was when I was 40, or like a big beer.
It was narrated from Ubadah bin Samit that the Messenger of Allah said, "Carry out the legal punishment on relatives and strangers, and do not let the fear of blame stop you from carrying out the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala."
Yeah, I point that out. You can interpret that as just saying, hey, if it's your job in the ummah to carry out punishments, then don't let things slide for your family members. But the creepy part is it just says carry out Allah's punishments, even against your own family members. The reason that's creepy is, okay, what's the penalty for blasphemy if you hear a relative making fun of Muhammad? Death. So very easy to say, well, I'm commanded to carry out Allah's penalties even against my own family members. Or what if your family member becomes an apostate or something like that?
The child's going to become an apostate.
Yeah, so this is relevant in that, honor killings can be like a cultural thing, like in certain areas and stuff that predate Islam, but Islam allows you to justify that very easily by saying, okay, well, my daughter is going around, she's not obeying Islam, she's not dressing appropriately, and so on. So according to the Quran, according to Surah 4, verse 65, since she's not following all of Muhammad's decisions, she's actually an apostate. What's the penalty for apostates? Death. And I'm required to carry out these penalties even against my own family members, and then it's justified.
Yeah, there is a very important detail here, which is that Muslims, when you bring up these things, will object and say, in Islam, it is the authority, the caliph, or the court, the judge, who carries out such punishments, or who judges and then sentences you to be executed or whatever it is. However, the general ruling in Islamic jurisprudence in the history is that you are not supposed to take matters into your own hand. However, it's also not that big of a deal. It is up to the caliph or to the ruler to decide what happens to you if you become vigilant and kill someone that needs to be killed. However, it's not a great sin to kill somebody that needs to be killed according to the Sharia. So.
And we see this in the Muslim sources when you had a guy who killed the mother of his own children. And then Muhammad says, hey, who killed this woman? Because they find the body. Hey, who killed this woman? He says, hey, she was making fun of you, Muhammad. Muhammad said, no retaliation against this guy.
Muhammad said, based.
So keep in mind that she was not brought to trial and convicted and sentenced to death. He just said, hey, you're making fun of Muhammad. I'm going to kill you. And he did, stabbed her to death. And then what happened, Muhammad said, no retaliation for this guy because it was okay. But keep in mind, that was just vigilante Islamic justice.
Hey, it was like this. I'm Muhammad and you are the guy who killed that family member.
Okay.
Yeah. Who killed this woman?
I'm sorry, Muhammad, but she kept talking trash about you, was saying all sorts of mean things about you, so I stabbed her to death.
Oh, that's why you killed her?
Yeah.
Beast.
And that's basically how the discussion went, ladies and gentlemen. So you do have this kind of encouragement that vigilante justice is okay, and the result is all these years later, you can keep in mind there's a more disturbing part of that. The more disturbing part is all we have is what the guy said she did. The guy who killed this woman, she's not there to speak in her own defense or call witnesses or anything. The guy who murdered her, stabbed her to death, that guy said, oh, but yeah, she made fun of Muhammad. Muhammad said, oh, then that's fine. Guys, here we are 1,400 years later. And what happens in Pakistan if you have a disagreement with someone? You say, hey, he made fun of Muhammad. He burned the Quran, and then a mob forms and kills him.
Yeah.
You literally have a get out of a death free card if you murder someone. If you just say, oh yeah, they made fun of Muhammad or they burned the Quran or something like that. So that's actually pretty disturbing. And these are the fruits of Muhammad's powerful teachings.
And the fruits are not very tasty.
Registrations are very low, so sign up for it really quick. Celebration of Hindu culture in Canada. Ask Sham Sharma and Daniel Boardman to know more. So Tarun is really pushing this hard, the celebration of Hindu culture in Canada. Just keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you got Sham Sharma, Daniel Boardman. You can find out more Just check out Tarun. And if you really, really, really like wheatgrass soup, wheatgrass salad, wheatgrass kebabs, wheatgrass with wheatgrass sauce, wheatgrass shakes. If you like all that stuff, they're going to have plenty of it at Vegan Fest Canada.
What's next? Soon we're gonna start dressing up as women. We're gonna do drag stuff. Then we're going to listen to Taylor Swift.
What? From the wheatgrass?
Yeah.
Schnudgewick says, hi guys, AP, if you like Jews, then you'll love the King of the Jews. Come to Christ, AP. Hurry up. God bless you both. It's good advice. Good advice.
That's a good point.
Yahya is now taking in all 72 inches of goat sabi, but what's wrong with you? AP fans? Stay over on AP's channel with your weird talk. Ryan says, Sin got paid his wages. Sinwar got paid his wages. Wages of sin is death. Sinwar said he wanted to be a martyr. Israel would have been Islamophobic if they didn't grant his wish. Nobody can accuse Israel of such a thing now. That is a good point. These guys say, we want death, we want to die a martyr, and Israel does it, and then how are Israel the bad guys? They should be your heroes.
Why would you make us martyrs? Why would you do? You know what the funny thing about CIA Sinwar is? Lots of people know this, but some people might still not be aware. And this actually puts into perspective what Israel does for people, even the people who are terrorists who hate Israel. Yahya Sinwar,
they gave him surgery and something. Yeah,
arrested. Yeah, in 2011, he was in an Israeli prison, and he was found to have a brain tumor that was big, that was developing, that was endangering him. Israeli doctors, upon realizing this, planned a surgery and actually carried out the surgery. They removed Yahya Sinwar's brain tumor from his brain. And they did that through Israeli taxpayer money. So it wasn't even Yahya Sinwar paying for it. It wasn't anybody paying for it. It was Israeli taxpayer money paying for it. Israel removed his brain tumor, and later, as part of a hostage exchange deal, in order to get back their soldier, their Israeli soldier, they let Yahya Sinwar go. So not only did they identify his brain tumor, they also for free removed his brain tumor. And as soon as he went back, he started killing people again. And today they finally did what was right, what they should have done back then, and actually removed his brain, not the tumor. So
very, very, very rude. I think it's good to give people a second chance at life.
Not such people.
He was given a second chance, and he used that second chance to kill more people.
Alhamdulillah.
No one is going to lose a minute's sleep over that.
Yeah.
No one.
That's what Israel does.
Can you imagine that? I mean, like, okay, you're a terrorist. Because keep in mind, you do have people who are like, gosh, I'm here as a prisoner and they like helped me out. Maybe I need to rethink my ways. Maybe I need to rethink whether what I've been raised to think about these people is correct. And then you have other people, oh, I was going to die, but they saved me. Now I will kill as many of them as possible. All right, you have made it understood that no amount of help or kindness or compassion or generosity or magnanimity is ever going to stop you from being obsessed with killing Jews. All right, now you have exhausted the limits of generosity there.
And it's almost poetic. Now you see the footage of him dead. The photo of him, and he basically has a hole here, and
I've seen it.
His brain is missing.
So. It is an extremely large hole. It looks like he was hitting his head with a .44 Magnum.
It's almost poetic. They removed the tumor, and today they removed his brain.
I want them to start trolling during these announcements. Wafik Safa died naked while cuddling his Goku body pillow. We should start announcing stuff like that. And just
We should. We should.
we got to start doing that. Let's see. AP mocks Sinwar. AP mocks Sinwar. He thinks he'd do better against Israel. Walk a mile in his shoes before you talk trash. How many virgins you got, AP? 72? Didn't think so.
I have 71 actually.
72?
I didn't collect 72.
That drone footage sure was mind-blowing. Yes, it was. Guys, the footage is all over Twitter. I've seen the footage. Why do Muslims say Astaghfirullah?
Stuff. Wait, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, you got to have for Allah. You got to say it's for Allah, for Allah.
Astaghfirullah.
Some people have sick minds. If you translate the comment section from Al Jazeera Arabic, they're mourning Sinwar's death, calling him martyr. Unbelievable. Yeah, not surprising from...
Others are evening his death.
They identified his body by his crazy camel teeth. Kind of not joking there. There were pictures of like Sinwar with like his mouth open and then showing like this guy whose large part of his head is missing and zooming in on his teeth, showing that he had the same the same teeth.
Yeah, they took his body and analyzed it and eventually released it to the public and said, "It's him. We got him." It's kind of funny because when you look at the footage, it's clearly him. Like when you look at the photos that they released long before they officially announced that it's him, it is clearly him. You can clearly see his, the shape of his face, the same marks that he has, the shape of his mouth, the monkey-like look that he had, and so on, the teeth, everything is there, exactly him. But I guess when somebody like Yahya Sinwar is in question in such a war, they still take the body back and still analyze still make sure that it's actually him before announcing that it's him. It's kind of fun.
White Trash Panda says, whatever happened to Hindu historian? He used to be a regular in chat on both your channels, but haven't seen him in quite a long time. Just curious. Yep. Not sure. Maybe he's has something that conflicts with our times we go live or something like that. Hey, Sinwar's last words was that soundbite you guys used. Yeah, his last words were... That's true.
Is that true? Really? Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. Fatih Sultan Mehmed says, over a year and still no results? No results for what? Hamas.
This is a typical term.
Hamas has been almost completely obliterated, and the entire leadership of Hezbollah has been destroyed. Iran is hiding, because they know retaliation is about to come. What planet do you live on? Isn't it amazing that the same guy, look what Israel's doing, they're genociding the entire population, exterminating Muslims worldwide, oh my goodness. Then they'll turn around, oh, what have they done? They've done nothing. They haven't stopped one single one of us. They've done nothing.
It's so insane, man. You have these apologists of Hamas on social media. They go around acting like, see, Israel is weak, Israel weakling. At the same time, they're crying. At the same time, this whole entire year, they have received nothing but bad news of all of their leaders, of all of their groups. Like, they have made no progress. They have achieved nothing at all since October 7. They have been shoved into the ground wherever possible. And still they're like, you see, we will win in the end. Delusional.
Oh, boy. It reminds me of like in the Iraq War. Like, it was being announced over the radios and stuff. It was being announced over the radio that the Iraq is destroying and humiliating the kuffar. And the people in all these towns were thinking, us, we're destroying them. Until U.S. soldiers literally show up at their town. They think that these guys are being pushed back and crushed and stuff like this. And all of a sudden, wait a minute. What are all these tanks doing outside? Weird stuff. But they love running their mouths. So nice to see Agnostic Pope on Mahartusi TV today. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Want to toss in a shout out for that?
Yeah, my R2C, I was on his channel today. I actually contacted him quite a while ago, like many months ago. And then he said, "Oh, yeah, let's do something next week." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, let's do it." And then I never got back to him. That's what I do.
That's
And then
what you pretty much always do.
eventually he messaged me just a week ago and said, "Hey, how about let's do something together?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. So we arranged a live stream for today, went live for 40 minutes or so, and also talked about other things to do together to collaborate. But yeah, my R2C has a fantastic channel, does great work, and would recommend going and checking it out.
Comic Nut says, maybe I'm crazy, but do the Dawah guys sound like the Costco guys? Yes, I have been drinking. What Costco guys? I mean, guys who work at Costco? What are you talking about?
Crazy.
You know what that means?
No.
Lord Stannis says, please live react to BB's trial music video. I don't like reacting to music videos because YouTube puts higher restrictions on reacting to music stuff.
Unless it's my music.
Hey, look at this. Let me get on the live stream for just a sec, guys. No.
No. I don't want to hear anything about your food preferences.
I've already praised the glories of wheatgrass kebabs and so on. Aladdin reconverted to Islam in his new video. Oh, nice. That's good. Sinwar forgot to pay his medical bills. Yeah, should have gotten some dental. How frightened is the Ayatollah right now? Really, really frightened. He knows what's coming. He knows what's coming. The entire Iranian leadership has to know their days are numbered. Not just because they've taken on too much at once. They've got Israel is about to retaliate. They've got a civil war brewing. It's their days are numbered. Mehdi talks like Israel is at war with citizens. Yeah, we're about to see that. I've already had a celebratory beer. Very rude. Do not celebrate when horrible terrorists who are obsessed with slaughtering and murdering people get what they say they want. Should suspend Sinwar's corpse for birds to eat. Yeah, you should do something with it. There should be like a museum of dead terrorists. AP, if there was a museum of dead terrorists in Israel, would you go there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The standard. Oh, this is mean.
I would buy dead terrorists to have them in my home.
Look at this mean joke. The sin has holes in it. Talking about standard Islamic narrative, but this person is clearly referring to Sinwar, namely his head. Very, very. Look here. People are grieving. Be more considerate. Apostate. Boo-hoo. Thank you. Apostate. Ryan here said it. And it's Ryan. I don't know if you could see that, AP, but it's Ryan Gosling wearing Islamic headgear for your enjoyment, since you're the one who thinks.
That's what they do.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this video. This is Mehdi Hasan versus Jonathan Conricus on Piers Morgan. Jonathan Conricus, former IDF, I think it was a lieutenant colonel or something like that. And then the spokesman for the IDF. And Mehdi Hasan, journalist, one of the best speakers on the planet. And why this was actually brutal. The last time we saw Jonathan Conricus, he's usually able to run circles around people because he's a very good communicator and other people aren't. Like Pierce will always have like Cenk Uyghur on there and get other people who just aren't good communicators. And then you have people like Hijab who just try to derail the entire discussion with personal attacks and so on. You can disagree all you want with Mehdi Hasan. The guy is a phenomenal communicator. Even if he were spouting complete nonsense, he is good at just rapid fire, point. He's a matter of fact, as far as people who would disagree with him, the only person I can think of who's as great a communicator, so just as far as like rapid fire debate and so on, would be Douglas Murray. And I think they had a debate. I've just never seen it. I think they've actually debated. That would be an interesting one to watch. But so anyway, Jonathan Conricus, awesome communicator. Best chin you could possibly have. Mehdi Hasan, really weak chin, but one of the top communicators on the planet as far as raw, just basic communication skill.
He could not kill you with his jaw, but Jonathan Conricus would totally kill you.
He could
Good
take
killing.
on all of Hamas with his chin.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Here we go.
The US has ordered Israel to urgently boost aid to Gaza or face having some military assistance cut off. It comes after reports that Benjamin Netanyahu was...
Wait, what did he say? Hang on.
The US has ordered Israel to urgently boost aid to Gaza or face having some military assistance cut off.
The U.S. has told Israel to instantly boost aid to Gaza, or what did he say? Be cut off? I just wanted to, for some reason that went by too fast for me to process.
The US has ordered Israel to urgently boost aid to Gaza or face having some military assistance cut off.
Okay.
It comes after reports that Benjamin Netanyahu was considering a surrender or starve plan to choke off aid to the north, leaving hundreds of thousands without food or water to flush out Hamas terrorists. Israeli officials are told they...
I don't want to pause this early, but that's a misrepresentation of what's actually being planned.
Surrender or starve?
What Bibi Netanyahu actually said. He said that the plan would be so on the surface, the plan in and of itself is not problematic at all. It is evacuate the civilian population and make sure that you can get the civilian population out of there and only leave the militant, the combatants behind, and then pressure them by starving them, by cutting off any food supplies or water supplies entirely, and pressure them to surrender. So that would be the plan. That alone, if the plan succeeded as it would not be a humanitarian problem. It would also not be a war crime or anything like that. It would be completely about combatants. However, they just want to make it look like, oh, if they do that, then this will affect civilians and all that. That's not part of the plan. Okay.
Tony G here says Mehdi is a sleazeball. He's not a good communicator. Those things are not mutually exclusive. You can be a total sleazeball. I believe he is. But he's also a very good communicator. You need to be aware of that, right? Because that's when you run into problems. You get someone who's a total dirtbag, but phenomenal communicator, and that's just a reality. So you have to be aware of it. But don't pretend he's not a good communicator. What are you talking about? That's just weird.
I don't like the guy at all. I think he's a scumbag and he's a liar and all that. However, I have to say that he does a very, very good job at delivering his scumbag opinions.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird because he'll accuse people of what's called gish galloping and so on. That's where you like fire off too many points for the person to respond to and stuff. He's like a champion of complaining about that, but he does it. He does it all the time. He'll fire off like 10 points. Guys, the idea behind gish galloping is that it can take significantly longer to respond to a criticism than it does to bring up the criticism, right? You can bring up a criticism in a second or 2 seconds, right? And blah, 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 right? That was very quick, right? I can bring that up. And guess what? If you give me a minute, I can bring up 10 or 15 criticisms. If the other person is limited to equal time, you can't respond to this stuff. There's no way to respond to this stuff. That's the idea behind gish galloping, which Mehdi constantly complains about, but whenever he has an opportunity to argue points and so on, he usually does it. But let's see what happens here.
US counterparts, they won't enact that plan. Or frankly, that's what they tend to say about most of their escalations just before they happen. In the past few days, 4 Israeli soldiers were killed, 58 more badly injured in a Hezbollah drone attack. The UN, meanwhile, has condemned a large number of civilian deaths caused by Israeli strikes, including one that hit a Gazan school. With the conflict now at its most dangerous juncture, I'm joined by 2 of the most accomplished advocates for their relative positions. Jonathan Conricus is a retired lieutenant.
Look at that chin, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the
Why
chin.
Did he call him a retard?
Huh?
Why did he call him a retard?
Didn't. Retired.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Jonathan Conricus is the guy with the chin. Mehdi Hasan is the guy with no chin. Let's see.
Jonathan Conricus is a retired lieutenant colonel, an international spokesman for the Israeli Defense Forces. And Mehdi Hasan is editor and CEO of Zateo News. Well, welcome to both of you.
Look at the difference in chins. Conricus, his chin just like keeps going like almost down to his chest. And Mehdi, it looks like his chin was surgically removed after some sort of accident or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Mehdi Hasan is the CEO of the world famous outlet Zateo.
Weak chin.
And the two.
You expect me to fall for that? You want me to
What?
go, what's it to you?
No, I'm serious. It's actually
What?
called Zeteo.
Are you serious? Because it sounds like a joke. I'm supposed to go, what's Zeteo? And you go, it's everything to me, or something like that.
No, I'm serious. It's actually called Zeteo.
Well, that's dumb. And unless the company name was chosen for that, so people go, what's Zeteo? And they go, it's my favorite. I don't know. Anyway.
Fascinating debate. I hope, unlike some of my debates on this, it doesn't descend into talking over each other and ad hominem too much, because
who could you be talking about, Piers?
And I say that as a compliment, having interviewed you both multiple times. But Mehdi, let me start with you about where you feel we are now. It seems to me that where we are is that Benjamin Netanyahu, having been very unpopular with Israeli people, following the attacks on Hezbollah, the pager attacks, and then following up with the strikes on Hezbollah leadership and so on, he's suddenly seen a massive spurt in his popularity, and that seems to have emboldened him now to potentially go for broke with Hamas, with Hezbollah, with the Houthis, and ultimately potentially with Iran directly. Is that your reading of this, and how dangerous is that as a moment for the world?
That's such a disingenuous representation.
What was your objection to how flawlessly things were just presented by Piers Morgan?
No, I had more of an objection until I understood what he actually meant. He meant that that after October 7, or at the time of October 7, he was losing popularity significantly. But the way he has handled the war so far is actually commendable, and he has gained popularity due to his handling of the war. However, you can interpret this as, oh yeah, look, he has become popular because of how he handles the war. This is why he is getting emboldened and wants to do whatever he wants and stay in power as long as possible. That would be a very, very bad faith interpretation. Or maybe you could simply say the guy is in charge. He's doing what he needs to be doing during war, and let's see where that goes. But
yeah, I have to say, I mean, Piers is right in that I've mentioned this before. It just seems like a different vibe where when the attention was on Gaza in like January, February, March, and so on, it's like so many people were just, Israel's the bad guys, Israel's the bad guys, Israel's the bad guys. And then once he started taking out Hezbollah's leadership and blowing everyone's balls off and so on, I don't know, a lot of the complaints seem to die down quick. Like it's almost people are like, okay, you got him there. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant one. Can't fault you for that one. Something along those lines. But anyway, it was weird to me. That's like, I don't know. It seemed like more people were warming up to the idea of taking out terrorists.
Yeah, well, there is a thing. When Israel fights in Gaza, it is very difficult for people to actually see what's happening, because you have a terrorist organization that is weak and that deliberately uses weakness and uses human shields in order to wage the war, and then directly appeals to world populations and to emotions and all of that. And it's very difficult to see it the right way when Gaza is so densely populated, so weak, and when there is just always a lot of civilian casualties necessarily in the war. The same thing is not really happening in Lebanon, where Hezbollah has been very brutal and has been very loud and has been trying to publicly say, we will never give up, we will destroy the Zionist entity, we will. And then people are like, haha, well, that didn't go very well, but these guys were very loud. So it's not quite the same picture, you know?
Hey.
What?
Hey, you know what I just realized? Like these three pictures right here, these three pictures, these three guys.
Yeah.
If you reverse, I mean, you could actually, like you have little weak chin, then Piers has good regular chin, and then Conricus has like super strong, destroy you with my chin. But this could be like in a plastic surgeon's office. Like, what kind of chin do you want? Do you want this little kind of weak chin here? Like, you could have someone who has some equivalent of anorexia, but with his chin. He's like, my chin's too big. I need a little tiny chin. You'd be like, okay, do you want to be like Mehdi here? But for other people, it could be like, do you want a good regular chin like Piers or this big, strong, manly chin? We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have first up, we have Mehdi.
Thanks, Piers. We're in a very dangerous moment for the world. Anyone who thinks otherwise is crazy. I've spoken to Middle East experts who say they've covered the region for decades and they've never seen it boiling like it is now. We could be on the verge of a much wider regional war than Israel has already created. And yes, Benjamin Netanyahu, anyone who follows Netanyahu's career, I think is well aware of the fact that he is a self-serving cynic. He, like Donald Trump, cares about himself more than he cares about his party or his people or his country. And we all know that he's carried on this war, partly, not only, but partly, because he wants to stay out of prison himself. He wants to keep his far-right fascistic coalition together. And of course, escalating as we get closer to an American election helps him, because as even Joe Biden apparently has acknowledged in private, he's trying to get Donald Trump elected. So for Netanyahu, there's a wide variety of domestic political reasons that help him extend the war. As you say, people tend to rally around in times of war. When Iranian rockets or Hezbollah rockets are dropping on Israelis, of course, are going to rally around their government. That's only natural. That happens in every country in the world. So of course it helps Netanyahu. He's the ultimate cynic.
Jonathan Conricus.
That was, hey, you're frozen.
I'm not frozen. What are you talking about?
That's weird. You're frozen on my camera, but you're not frozen.
I am frozen.
Oh, in your face.
Well.
Well. And yet no one wants to take up a collection for AP so he can get a new laptop. What is it? You do one thing in life, man. You live stream, and you can't even do that because you're crap technology.
The thing is, I don't want to get a new laptop if it's just a cable or a camera or something. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
How old is your current laptop?
I don't know, a few years old, and it's not a bad one. It's not a bad one. Anyway, continue. I'll just jump out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just sit here and wait for AP's laptop to start working for once. No, we'll continue. All right, so we had the opening there for Mehdi Hasan, and we're going to have the opening for Jonathan Conricus here. Let's see what Peter says.
I mean, a lot of people think that, and it's hard not to deduce that is what's driving him, not least because at the end of all this, Benjamin Netanyahu will face a moment of reckoning with the Israeli people for what happened on October the 7th, which many still blame him for in terms of a massive security failure on his watch. But also he's facing corruption charges, which have all been delayed pending resolution of the military conflicts. There's not really much incentive for him to bring any of this to an end, is there?
Guys, for anyone who hasn't been following this, it's basically there was a huge failure of the government to respond on October 7th, right? Everyone is kind of caught. We say, I don't know if people around the world have this saying, we say, caught with your pants down, right? If you get caught with your pants down when someone attacks you or something like that, then it's like, that means you're just not ready for it. So lots of people did not seem ready on October 7th, and it's part of the reason so many people died. And therefore, you would blame your government. You would say your government did not, your government was massively overprepared and didn't respond quickly enough. So people are going to have to answer for that at some point. And there are accusations of corruption. So all that's going on, but then there's the sort of conspiracy mindset that says the reason Netanyahu is carrying on this war everywhere is because of himself. It's because of himself. He knows he's going to have to answer for things on October 7th, or that he's going to have to respond to these corruption accusations and so on. And therefore, he's just keeping the war going for as long as he can to avoid facing the music. So that's the accusation. I don't believe that. That doesn't seem correct, but I don't know how you respond. You put it this way. You could say that any time of any war that starts. You could say, oh, that's because this guy is being accused of this, and so he wants to carry on this big, huge war, something like that. I would see it a little differently. Like if you are the leader of a country and you get caught off guard and there's this big terrorist attack or something like that, and you were underprepared, you don't just have to be trying to not face the music to think, okay, I need to go ahead and fix this. I'm responsible for making sure this doesn't happen. Yeah, I messed up last time. I messed up on October 7th, but I'm going to fix it and make sure that never happens again. So you could be doing that. I don't know how you'd actually say that it's to keep him. He's just trying to protect himself in this situation.
I want to say something very quickly about the whole idea that Mehdi Hasan presents here, which is that Benjamin, of course, he has to bring up immediately. He has to bring up Donald Trump. Like, can you have one discussion without bringing up Donald Trump, man?
No.
It's just like Cenk Uygur, just slightly more intelligent, or more intelligent, to be honest. But so here's the thing: he wants to accuse Benjamin Netanyahu of. Benjamin Netanyahu is facing charges over certain allegations, including fraud, bribery, misuse of power and things like that in government affairs. However, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have a case where this guy will almost definitely be locked up and will go to prison for a while. Probably, if something comes out of that case, he would be eventually, fined, or there would be a different sentence.
I would guess reprimand or something like that. Or there would be fines. There would be some other services attached to it, and so on. It's not a case like where he goes to prison and all that. Mehdi Hasan, let's remember, is also the same guy who was suggesting during Trump's time all the time that no doubt if it goes all the way through, that Donald Trump will be indicted and he will be removed from the presidency and this and that. He was on that camp. We know what happened. Never happened. He was indicted. He was what's it called again? What's the word again? He was impeached.
He was impeached, and nothing happened, because that's what happens. He is impeached, and nothing actually followed from that because they didn't have the power to remove him. Same thing with Netanyahu.
Here, you be someone interviewing Mehdi Hasan, and I'll be Mehdi. Go ahead.
Dear Mr. Mehdi Hasan, what do you think about the earthquake that just happened in Narnia?
Well, that question is as silly as Donald Trump saying that they're eating the dogs, right? I mean, he just talks about eating dogs, eating cats, eating dogs. That's kind of what he does like that. This guy needs to be locked up. And think about how he reacted at the racist rally, blah blah. And, he does kind of do that all the time. Hey, you know what as far as people saying Netanyahu's fighting this endless war because he knows what's going to happen to him afterwards, as if something is going to happen. It reminds me of you remember Inglourious Bastards? In the end, when he's going to carve the swastika into Christoph Waltz's head, and the guy goes, "You'll hang for this," and he goes, more like chewed out. I'll get chewed out for this. It's like there's no scenario where I get hanged for this. Someone's going to yell at me and say, "Why did you do that?" That's what's actually going to happen. I don't know where you're from, or you get hanged over carving something into a Nazi head or something like that. But no, someone's going to yell at me is what's going to happen.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Anyway, that's what someone after all this, someone might yell at Netanyahu, or they might say shame on him or something like this for this.
It is pretty much the same sentiment. Mehdi Hasan was also all bragging about, this will happen to Trump and this will happen to those and this one. He is the one who eventually lost his job because of his attitude here and had to start his own company.
But he just can't stop.
Yeah, never was a spokesperson for Netanyahu, and I certainly don't intend to be. And I think it's a bit flat to analyze everything.
I kind of like that. I'm not the spokesman for Netanyahu. Not my job. I was the spokesman for the IDF. Different. Anyway.
And a fantastic one to that.
Yeah. In the Middle East, only from Netanyahu's perspective, and then dress everything up as if it is all related in some,
nefarious,
mystical way, like the Elders of Zion type of thinking. I would offer, a different military way of looking at it. And when I see what Israel is doing, there's a lot of sense. For the first time in 11 months, or in a year after 11 months, Israel actually started gaining success against Hezbollah, and success leads to success. And when you succeed on the battlefield, you want to make sure that you exploit your enemy's weakness. That's what's happening now. I don't think that even Mehdi and other people can blame Israel for being attacked by Iran, or actually maybe Mehdi can, but I don't think that any reasonable person can say, well,
That's exactly what I thought when I was there. Actually, Mehdi can, but then he said it. I was thinking, no, Mehdi will blame you for anything. So anyway.
Israel is at fault for Iran twice firing missiles on all over Israel. So what Israel is doing is defending itself against Iranian attacks, first and foremost Hamas. And Hamas is down but not out, and now dealing very lately, and after a long period of time of 70,000 Israelis being evacuated from their homes for 11 months, but dealing with Hezbollah as well. And I think that in the coming days, or maybe a little bit more than that, Israel will expand its defenses to the real destabilizing factor in the Middle East, which is Iran. And to put everything within the Netanyahu context, I think it's a bit, intellectually lazy and flat. There's so much more to it, and it really takes away agency and responsibility from all of the other actors that are attacking Israel. The Gaza and the Hezbollah and the Houthis and the Iranians and Iraqis and Syrians, all of these, they have no agency, they have no responsibility, they all are part of the Netanyahu show. I find that a bit hard to believe, and I think it's kind of a lazy argument to be making.
All right, Mehdi, you're...
I agree. And that was that's something that should always be pointed out, is everything is going back to Iran. The Hamas attack, Iran called that shot. Hezbollah, they are Iran's puppets in Lebanon and Syria. The Houthis in Yemen are puppets of Iran. Iran is pulling the strings on a lot of terrorist groups who act as their puppets. And Israel keeps having to deal with all these different groups, but it's ultimately Iran. And now he just said, and now we're going to now it's getting to the point where we're going to have to deal with the puppet master here.
Yes.
He is
yes.
correct. He is correct.
He said it all. He said it well. And I really wonder what Mehdi Hasan will say about this.
Oh, Mehdi gets really brutal. He keeps saying, what about this? What about when Israel did this? What about when Israel did that? What about when Israel did this? And it's like, it's exactly what you would want to do if you want to divert the attention away from Iran and keep it all back on Israel being the bad guys. But
it's just there is this funny thing. At some point, you don't want to give people any more the attention that they want by diverting from the issue and making it all about, Israel is doing this, Israel is doing that. We have certain facts here on the table. Those facts are: Israel was attacked on October 7 by a terrorist organization. You think there was a resistance? You think Israel deserved it? You think Israel has asked for it? Nobody cares. Certainly not Israel. Israel was attacked by terrorists on that day. Terrorists that were in camp with Iran, with the Islamic regime of Iran, and also with Hezbollah. Israel has every right to not only fight back against Hamas, but also to fight back against Hezbollah, which has been firing against Israel since October 8th. And Israel did a fantastic job in just beheading the entire organization within just a week. And then there is Iran, which proudly and lovingly funded and supported and approved of these operations that Hezbollah and Hamas have carried out. Of course, Israel is going to be fighting back against those. It doesn't matter what Mehdi Hasan says. It doesn't matter what Mehdi Hasan questions about their motives or any of that. None of it matters. And this is why every single time when Israel responds heavily and carries out its operations in response to being attacked, in response to all the covert actions, they're like, whoa, why is Israel doing this? Doesn't Israel see what this is leading to? Israel doesn't care, and Israel is right in not caring. Israel is doing what Israel needs to be doing. What matters here is Israel's population, not you, Mehdi Hasan.
Well, you say that now, but you haven't heard all these points that Mehdi is about to bring up about all the messed up stuff your heroes are doing. So let's see what he's got here.
Answer that.
Well, Well, let's just deal with the agency issue first. A few things. One is, a lot of those groups you mentioned have all said that their fighting with Israel is tied to what's happening in Gaza. Many of them have offered the Houthis, Iran, and I said this to you, Piers, last time I came on the show, and you said, how can we trust them? I said, don't trust them, but call their bluff. They've all said, you end the genocide in Gaza, you end the violence in Gaza, you get a ceasefire, and we will stop fighting with Israel.
Which genocide?
There is no genocide happening.
Yeah, and little side note. I mean, what was the genocide? What was the genocide that was going on? Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005, and then Hamas did this huge terrorist attack on October 7th of last year, and then so I don't know. All right, let's go. He's saying when he's saying call their bluff, he's saying Israel and other nations should call their bluff, stop fighting Hamas. Stop fighting Hamas, because you've got these other groups that say we're only attacking Israel because of what's going on in Gaza. And so he's saying, don't trust those groups, but trust them enough to call their bluff. He's saying it's a bluff. He's saying stop going after. This just sounded insane. Guys, this is what he said. So he brings up, Jonathan Conricus brought up that, hey, there's a bunch of people bunch of different groups attacking Israel right now, and so Israel is having to fight all these different groups. And he's saying, why are all these different groups attacking? Because Iran is orchestrating all this. Mehdi's response is, don't trust the groups and what they say, because we know they're liars, but call their bluff because they say they're doing it just for Gaza. So therefore, stop fighting Hamas, let Hamas go. And then, yes, it's a bluff that all these other groups are just fighting you over Gaza, but go ahead and call their bluff and then let Hamas go and then deal with everyone else anyway.
Yeah, first off, Israel is fighting back against a terrorist organization that just will not listen to any reason. It doesn't matter, once again, what Mehdi Hasan thinks or what anyone else thinks here. Israel gave them the opportunity to be a proper society and to develop themselves. They did not. They chose not to do that. They chose to instead be terrorists and continue fighting. For 20 years, they were very, very much left alone unless they carried out attacks. And now, time's up. The experiment is over, which in my opinion Israel should have never allowed, but at least they did. Obviously nobody appreciates it, but the experiment is over. We're done with that, and the Hooters, the Hezbollah and all the others don't get to decide how Israel should now be taking care of the situation. They can get out and take care of their own problems, unless they want to be fought too.
So, guys, Mehdi literally just said, you can't trust the groups on why they say they're fighting Israel, but Israel should stop fighting Hamas anyway, just to call these guys bluff.
Yeah, right, sure. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like the wisest advice. AP has different advice. He says, no, you gave all these groups a chance, and now you're dealing with them. Let's see what happens.
The one that Hamas started on the 7th?
Let me.
The genocide that Hamas started on the 7th?
The genocide that your country is being investigated. Can I finish a sentence? The genocide that your country is being investigated for the International Court of Justice right now.
Jonathan, let Mehdi finish his point. Jonathan, I'll let you respond after Mehdi finishes his point.
Yeah.
Mehdi.
I barely started, but he doesn't want people to hear what's going on. All of those groups have said they'll stop if Israel stops its genocide in Gaza. NBC News reported that Israel killed Nasrallah because he said, I'm only going to do a deal with you if you do a ceasefire in Gaza. I want to link a ceasefire in Lebanon with a ceasefire in Gaza. And the Israelis told NBC News that's why we killed him. So we know that these groups have agency. Israel has agency. Jonathan Conricus wants your viewers to believe that Israel just blindly, Israel was just minding its own business and Iran attacked it. Israel attacked Iran first. In Syria, they bombed an Iranian consulate in violation of the laws of international law and international diplomatic law. Yeah, they killed Iranians in Iran. They then bombed Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. They bombed the Iranian capital. And then they bombed Beirut and killed a senior Iranian general. So actually, it was Israel that's been provoking. And when he talks about
let's have a...
it's Israel. AP, Iran wasn't doing anything. Israel just went and started killing these guys in various places. That's what happened, according to Mehdi. So in your face.
Imagine imagine the United States is attacked by a terrorist organization from, let's say, Cuba, right? They're invading and attacking, and the terrorist organization in Cuba is publicly and openly thanking Russia for their support and for their for everything that they have done in order to support and authorize this terrorist attack. And then you have very clear ties that you observe all along for many months, where Russia sends their own organization, their own people back and forth to Cuba, and they even create a department within their military just dedicated to fight proxy war. And at one point, these Russian officials meet up together with those Cuban terrorists and others together in in Mexico somewhere. And then America says, okay, we have them all in one spot. We'll fire at this place. So they fire at this place, and they take out at the same time the Cuban terrorists, several Russian officials who were in on it, and other terrorist organizations that have also been fighting against America.
See, you attacked the Russians. You attacked the Russians. What's wrong with you? Now Russia has to attack you, and you started it.
And then Russia says, why would you attack us? Why would you attack us? Now we have a right to attack you. Okay, technically speaking, if we are talking about direct attacks against each other, it was the United States in this example that first directly attacked Russian officials. However, in reality, in this scenario, was the United States really the aggressor?
According to me, or according to Mehdi Hasan?
According to Mehdi the caveman.
Yes, you should have just done nothing and called their bluff and then not done anything to them.
See?
Powerful stuff.
So stupid, man.
Yeah, pretty dumb.
Destabilization in the region. Everyone in the region knows it's Israel that's destabilizing the region. It's Israel right now that's escalating wars in multiple countries. Everyone around the world knows it's Israel that's the country that is causing the issues. 40 countries, Piers. 40 countries have just put out a statement on Saturday saying, can Israel please stop attacking UN peacekeepers, blue helmets? So please don't give us lectures on who is stabilizing, destabilizing the region. And final point, as for winning, the Israeli general who ran the Gaza division, Gadi Shamni, says Hamas is winning, Israel is losing in a big way. Those are his words, not my words.
Hey, you hear
Jonathan,
that? Are you aware of this, that Israel's actually losing the war against Hamas?
Yes, Israel is losing.
You just heard it from Mehdi. Mehdi, why are you complaining then, right? Israel's losing the war against Hamas. Hamas is just crushing them, man. It's just crushing poor little Israel's getting crushed right now by Hamas jihadis.
So why are you crying?
You heard it from journalist Mehdi Hasan right there.
Why are you crying? Why are you crying?
Why are you crying, weaklings? All right, so there you had it from... Yeah, here, guys, I pay attention to guys who are good communicators in the sense of being able to fire off points rapidly and so on. Mehdi's great at that. I have to say, anytime someone starts moaning and wailing about genocide to something where I can't see how it fits any serious definition of genocide, but you just scream it, then it's like, okay, you get by on rhetorical points, which I understand on social media. If you're supposed to be a serious journalist and you run your mouth like this, then you sound dumb to me. If you're a journalist and you want to be taken seriously as a journalist, and then you just end your little presentation there with, yeah, oh, and by the way, Israel's losing to Hamas. Now you sound like you live in La La Land to me. You sound like you live in fantasy land. But AP, it's exactly like one of the terrorists who go, we're winning, we're crushing them, we're humiliating them. What, where are you doing that? You're the one saying we're getting, it's like these two faces. We're getting genocided. We're getting completely wiped out. They're annihilating our entire population.
It's
and we're winning. We're crushing them. We're destroying Israel. What?
It's funny that he said this. When was this? A few days ago, before Israel officially took out the final person counted among the leaders known on October 7. If you now go on a list of the main October 7 commanders in charge,
who's left?
and Hamas leaders, they're all dead. All of them, they are all dead. The ones that were actually listed as commanders in charge and Hamas leaders, they are now all dead without exception. Now you have certain representatives that are from the political branch of Hamas that will probably take their places and all that. But Yahya Sinwar was the Gaza leader of Hamas. He was in charge of Hamas military operations. He was the de facto leader, and he was also now assigned as the political leader of Hamas after Ismail Haniyeh died, after he was killed, and now Yahya Sinwar is also killed. Now it's a ghost. Nobody knows who is in charge of Hamas right now. I'm not sure what exactly they will do. Maybe they will ask Mehdi Hasan to be their new leader. I don't know, but you have Israel fighting against these guys, defeating them. And here there is one thing which is very difficult to understand. When you fight against a group in a place that is so deeply and densely populated, where the terrorist organization has built an underground city, it is extremely difficult to actually fully defeat them. He is referring to a former general who was in Gaza, who said that allegedly Hamas is winning. What the guy actually said is not that Hamas is winning. What the guy actually said is that on the front, Israel, whenever Israel has a confrontation with Hamas, Israel or the IDF wins, and the IDF is crushing Hamas in terms of numbers, and they have reduced them to less than half of what they were in terms of numbers. However, Hamas is winning in a different way, such as that if the IDF leaves a certain position in Gaza, Hamas can within a very short time immediately take the place over again by coming out of their sewers like rats. So the guy was saying this is why you can't have the IDF just back out of Gaza, because what will happen is that the rats will come out of the sewer and they will take over the place, and they will soon start rebuilding again. So the IDF has to stay there until it is fully finished. This is why they are trying to explore a solution like fully evacuating all the civilians to a certain spot, taking it all under control, and then forcing the remaining Hamas militants by starving them. This is one of those solutions. This is why they are trying to come up with a solution, because it is so hard to get the rats out of the sewer.
Yeah, so guys, what AP is pointing out there, people saying, hey, Israel should just pull out now. Okay, then Hamas, basically, the ones that are left, take over, and then you still have a terrorist organization. And so you have people pointing out, no, you got to keep hunting these guys down. There's an ongoing problem. You take over an area, the terrorist runs, they flee and so on, a bunch of them die and so on, but they go somewhere else. The ones that survive go hide somewhere else and stuff. Then you go to that area, then they run back to the area that you just took. Unless you take over the entire place and have everything under the control of the military, then you're playing this whack-a-mole game. You're playing this constant, endless whack-a-mole game. And so AP is saying that this guy's actually saying, hey, you can't just pull out, because then all the guys who are hiding and running and hiding underground and so on in places that we haven't found them, they're just going to come back and take on over. And Mehdi has declared on that basis that Hamas is winning against Israel. Hamas is winning. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here.
What should actually happen eventually is resettlement of populations, and for Israel to be completely in charge of Gaza.
That's the thing. Like, what else do you do? Like,
nothing.
Israel would be demonized by the entire world for doing something like that. What else do you do when you're playing terrorist whack-a-mole, and you don't want to play terrorist whack-a-mole forever?
There is no other solution. There is no. They could do one thing which is worse than that, which would be to carpet bomb and exterminate everyone in Gaza, which they would never do.
That's what I mean.
In that case, they would be the greatest evil in the world, in the eyes of the world. They would never do that. There is a humanitarian alternative to that, which is to peacefully resettle people. If they are still blamed for that, who cares at this point? If you have to look at the bigger picture, Israel could do one thing which is extremely unpopular, and thereby, make a better future for their own people and also for the others, or they could just be anxious and listen to the world that just wants Jews to be killed forever.
Yeah, guys. So I've said this many, many times. This is what This is the goal. It's one of the goals of jihad. It's to give you multiple options, and all of them are bad. And therefore, and then whichever bad option you choose, they say, look at them doing this bad thing and choosing this bad option. Why? Because there is no good option. There's zero. There's zero good options here. So Israel could just wipe everyone out. That's bad. That people are really gonna not like that. They could take over the area. They could take over the area and maintain complete control over it. Well, guess who's the bad guys there? Israel. They could just keep going as they're going, constantly fishing for these guys and finding them and so on. Then you have a war that's going to continue for well into the future. Who's the bad guys there? Israel. What is the only way for Israel not to be the evilest force on earth? To just sit back and be conquered and slaughtered in the name of Allah, and to hand everything over to a bunch of jihadis. That's the only way they can. They're not the bad guys in people's eyes. Weird
You know what's really messed up? If Israel actually did something horribly, genocidal, and carpet bombed the entire Gaza Strip, you know what's really messed up about that? Of course, nobody wants that to happen. But even if Israel did something like that, the civilian population would entirely die, but Hamas would still survive. Because they have tunnels. They are prepared for it. This is what's so messed up about Hamas.
This is what jihadis do. They sit back and make it so you have a no future, where you have no good future. You have no good option for the future. That's what they want to do. And that's what they want to do for everybody. Let's take a couple super chats real quick. Think any of the Dawah guys are actually willing to martyr themselves, since they talk so much about it in life. I notice that people who speak with more bravado are extremely insecure in reality.
That's true.
Of course, these guys don't want to. These guys want. It's the same thing as the Hamas leaders who live in other places in the world and are billionaires and so on. They don't actually want to die. They want other people to die for them, and they want to pretend that they want to die. But you can see by their actions that they don't want to die. And the Dawah guys, no. These are great times to be a Dawah guy. You can live like a king right now if you can convince enough people that you're going to save Islam from the avalanche of apostasy. Megatron says, and now for Khalid Mashal, Ghazi, and Fatih Hamad.
I wish. Especially Fatih Hamad. I wish the guy would find his end. He's the guy who created Al-Aqsa TV and Farfour and all that. Although I appreciate Farfour, his creation Farfour, I would still like
not like Farfour. That's like, oh, Walt Disney has to die because he created Mickey Mouse. What's wrong with you, man?
He's actually the guy who created the TV programs that taught the children in Gaza for 20 years that it's the most honorable thing to do to sacrifice yourself and kill Jews. This is why Gaza is the way it is.
It's children. We have some sound advice from Apostate Boohoo. Guys, what if Sinwar is watching this? This may hurt his head. It may make him feel like a roof fell on top of him. Be more considerate. That is a good point. We will be more considerate. So Muhammad breastfed from his uncle. Does this mean that the whole adult breastfeeding mahram making practice can be done by men to non-mahram men? Hey, that might be a good idea. If you're worried about two homosexual men doing something, then just have them breastfeed. Have one of them breastfeed the other. You'll need to do it miraculously. But, yep, that will solve the problem, according to Muhammad. AP, can you remove Pat's leather straps band? Hey, quit. Hey, AP doesn't even know what you're talking about. And maybe Pat's leather straps deserved it for something.
I will look at it right here.
I wouldn't do it. I would ban Zane just for complaining. That's how I normally do. I
will check if Pat's leather strap is banned or not, and if he's not banned, I will actually ban him now.
And then I will ban Zane for complaining. What do you think of Zechariah 11:17 as a prophecy of what happened to Hezbollah and Sinwar? Of course, multiple fulfillments possible. Yeah, you can always view certain things as, I wouldn't regard this as any sort of specific fulfillment. Cool Aid Man D Wood. You think these people genuinely believe in their belief? I mean, Israel surrounded by Mohammedans countries. Isn't this their golden chance? Yeah, that's why over at the beginning of this debate, Piers Morgan was saying, and the Middle East looks like it's about to plunge into a much worse situation and a much bigger war and stuff. Doesn't look like that to me. It looks like you have a bunch of nations that are staying out of it because they understand Israel is going after Iran and its puppets. And guess what? Saudi Arabia hates Iran too, and hates Hezbollah. They hate the same people. And that's why these guys, who some of them otherwise might not like Jews, but they definitely don't like Iran. And when they think about what is a threat to them, they're more concerned about Iran doing something than they are about Israel doing something. So to me, it looks more like if Israel deals successfully with Hamas, with Hezbollah, and with Iran, seems like things are gonna die down pretty quick. Things like the violence is gonna subside.
I just unbanned Pat's leather straps. Hope he's happy now.
I wouldn't. I would ban the crap out of him forever, just for sending someone his burner account Zane. Let's see.
Well, I was kind of scared that he was going to send somebody next to intimidate me and to kill me.
Yeah. Omar says, it's funny how when Hezbollah, Hamas, and other jihadis leaders die, CNN says, leader for the group killed, while Fox News says terror group leader killed. It's all about the framing, ladies and gentlemen. I heard there are good deals on Israeli laptops, AP.
Yeah.
The reason Netanyahu keeps the war going is because most Israelis want him to continue the war, and we'd rather see him run this war than face trial right now.
Yeah.
I've been struggling with Christianity lately. I have a lot of hard questions. I have no one to ask these. Do you know anyone I can talk with about them? Yeah, find a Christian apologist on Twitter and ask them. But hopefully you're not a troll. Because there are lots of people say who say I have questions, and it's like prove to me that your sky daddy exists. Hearts have been broke. Have sympathy for Hinkle, Myron, Fit, Shields, Rumsey, Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Mustafa Ali, Syrian Girl, Sami Zayn, CM Punk, etc. Yes, many hearts are broken right now over the death of a terrorist. So. Again,
you forgot Dr. Lupus. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have many others. But yes, hearts are broken over the death of a terrorist. So, can this Mehdi telepathically talk to Ayatollah? Of course he can.
Yes, he can.
Would escalating the Israel-Palestine war in any circumstances cause Israel to fall, since Israel still has a large amount of military support from U.S.? Oh, I mean, keep in mind, Israel is a pretty small country with several million people in it. If they had enough enemies and not enough people who take their side, yes, they could be overwhelmed. That's not going to happen if they're going after Hezbollah and Iran. That's not going to happen. You need other groups and countries and so on involved. But yeah, I mean, yes,
I must say
it could theoretically happen. I think they would go nuclear before they actually allowed themselves to be conquered. But what's going on right now? No, it is not enough for Israel to fall. Not even close.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't come to mutually assured destruction or anything like that. However, there is one thing that I want to point out, which is that while Israel has very crucial alliances with the United States and other countries, I think that people shouldn't mistake the issue here as if Israel fully depends on these alliances. I would say that if things got really bad and this escalated, Israel could easily handle 3 of these countries or 4 of these countries together alone.
Yeah, it would instantly get more brutal because Israel's only able to be really patient with groups like Hezbollah and just sit back for a year as Hezbollah's firing rockets, because Israel knows that it has really good defense systems and that they can replenish those defense systems. If they find out people don't have their back anymore and they can't replenish their defense system, they'll go way harder on offense. They'll just bomb the crap out of everyone to get it over with. They're not going to put up with it anymore. So yeah, I don't again, there are like possible scenarios where Israel falls or something like that. It's just with the stuff that's going on right now, it's not going to happen. You would need other like really powerful forces and so on to be getting involved in this, and everyone else turning their backs on Israel. So nope, not going to happen. Wrap him in pigskin. Will he go to hell for that?
No.
No, but I think it's a good idea. I mean, Israel won't do it, but I've always been a fan of letting terrorists know, no one's going to do this. No one's going to do this because it would be offensive. But yeah, I am in favor of saying, hey, if you're a terrorist and you slaughter innocent people in the name of Allah and we actually take you out, we are burying you in a vat of pig intestines. Let your virgins come get you out of that.
Alhamdulillah.
Let's get the IDF spokesman to debate Abu Ubaidah. That'd be a good one. We'll watch that.
You know what people are underestimating about Israel, which you can further understand once you get more familiar with Israeli society. And if you visit Israel and you understand how many people are on reserve for the Israeli army, Israel has a remarkably strong sense of support for the IDF. It is like it is a religious and national thing. Whenever there is there is prayer, whenever there is worship, there is always there is also always prayer for the IDF involved. The IDF is at the core of anything that involves, prayer for the safety of Israel, for the people of Israel, and so on. People really heavily care a lot about the IDF and a lot about the safety of the nation. And Israelis throughout Israel admirably are very much ready to be drafted, to be called to serve in the military if things go bad, and they are pretty happy about it. People are on call all the time to just say, "Oh, you need me? Okay, I'll be there." That's it. And they go and they do something for the IDF, even if it's not fighting, if it's just operating different things, going into the office and whatever it is. People are always on call. They're always ready. If things went really bad, Israel could immediately gather a large part of their population and deploy them. You cannot at all find the same thing in any of these countries that Israel is facing. We're talking about Lebanon. Lebanon doesn't even support Hezbollah. The majority of Lebanese people don't support Hezbollah. Majority of Lebanese people don't want to go to the military. The Palestinians, they don't have a military. Yemen doesn't have a military. It is pretty much starving right now if they are if they actually got involved in a war. Iran, the own population is not supportive of the government, let alone the military. They would let them hanging immediately. There is no other country in the Middle East that actually likes to serve the military. You only have Israel that is ready and very, very much advanced. This is not a joke.
Pew polled Israeli views on war, 73% support it. Sounds about right. Whenever you say retaliation, I'm thinking of Sunan Abu Dawud 52:24. That's, take that retaliation. Oh, yeah, take all that retaliation, Prophet. Pretty creepy. Israel created the war. Netanyahu is the ultimate sinner. The fact Israel slept on October 7th or thought the Palestinian humans does not change the fact that the war is the responsibility of the Palestinians. Oh, yeah, it is. It is. It's just, imagine a situation where your government just, someone's breaking into your house and you call the cops or something like that and they don't show up, right? It would still be it's still the person who broke into your house who's the problem, but you'd be wondering, why the heck did police not show up? I'm supposed to live in a place where I can call police to come and do something. So yeah, you deal with the problem, you deal with the criminals and so on. But after all that, you focus on that. You focus on dealing with the criminals, the people who are trying to kill you and stuff. After all that, you do have to deal with, okay, why why did this happen? Why did this happen that we were not ready for this, or that we weren't nearly as prepared for it? So yes, that's on Hamas and ultimately on Iran and so on. But you do have, when you have failures of security there, someone is responsible for that.
That's what they do.
Who's this bozo talking to Dr. Mehdi Hasan, PhD? We all know the spokesman for Israel is the blogger known as Ridvan. That's true.
That's true.
Why does Piers keep getting people like Jonathan Conricus and stuff, and not the real spokesman for Israel, the Apostate Prophet?
Because I still haven't handed in my stuff.
Mehdi wants Israel to negotiate with terrorists. Yeah, he sure does. AP's growing beard conjures up two questions. He's already Orthodox, or he's secretly a Muslim again. Draw your own conclusions.
You missed the third option.
What's that?
I don't know.
Just want to say thank you for putting it out there. That's what we do. Mehdi talks here, a lot of accusations, non-factization. Here a lot of accusation, not factization.
Factization.
Snudgewick says, Mehdi, the kind of guy you want the dinosaur to eat in Jurassic Park movie. He's like Hijab and interrupting bully, acting for his Muslim fans. And it's actually kind of funny because these guys keep it starts now, but they keep interrupting each other. But each one of them will complain that the other's interrupting. I'll say, oh, see, he's interrupting me. But then as soon as they have the opportunity, they interrupt the other guy. All right, let's watch a little more of this.
Response.
Yeah, I just out of respect for you, Piers, I didn't interrupt the second time, even though Mehdi's statement was littered with so many lies that are in fact quite ridiculous.
As were yours.
Israel was indeed minding its own business. Israel was indeed minding its own business on the 6th of October when Hamas, with a genocidal intent, invaded into Israel and butchered Israeli civilians. Israel was also minding its own business along the Lebanese border when on the 8th of October, Hezbollah started firing at Israeli civilians and military and eventually forced about 70,000 Israelis to flee their homes after many of them were killed. Israel was also minding its own business for many years and has, as you well aware, no, Mehdi, Mehdi, let's agree not to interrupt. I refrained from interrupting you. Even though you said so many horrible and very flat lies, and I'll continue not interrupting you if you do the same. Right. And by the way, speaking about
did he just admit that he did indeed tell lies? Did he just admit that he did tell lies?
You told lies, as did you. Okay, so that's kind of saying I just told lies. Right? Notice it wasn't, I'm not lying, you're lying. You're lying, not me. You're the liars. Okay. He told lies. You did too. We're both liars here.
I live in the region. My children are here. You do not. And I don't know how many people you know and see from both sides of these different conflicts. I know people from both sides and I speak with them and I live here. So I don't think that you're in a position to be lecturing anybody about what's really happening in the region. Okay. I am the one who is running with my family to bomb shelters when Hezbollah fires missiles and when the Iranians fire missiles and when Hamas fires missiles. I am the one who has family who has been evacuated from the north. I am the one who has close relatives and friends who were massacred on October the 7th. Don't lecture me about who is the source of instability. I agree with you that a lot of countries and a lot of dark people have a problem with the Jews living in their ancestral homeland. But that doesn't make it wrong that we're here. We're going to continue to be here and continue to defend ourselves despite the likes of you and despite our enemies. And I'll tell you that our history is so full of people that wanted to kill Jews and wanted to force us out of our homeland. But we're back, we're here, and we intend to continue to stay here, despite the best efforts of Iranians and Syrians and Lebanese and Gazans and others.
Alhamdulillah.
It's pretty based.
Powerful.
It was on the based end. That was on the based end of the spectrum there.
Powerful.
Powerful words come from a powerful chin.
I already know the things that Mehdi Hasan will say. One,
of course,
he will
he's
say
going to go through
that
a bunch of examples of stuff, and you bombed this, and you shot that guy, and this and that.
He's going to say that Israel killed Palestinians in the year 2023, prior to October 7. What he will also say that he already mentioned that, so it's not fair of me to say that he will say that.
Yeah, don't act like you're a prophet when he already said it.
He will talk about displaced people in Lebanon and all that. But I'm pretty sure that he will go into people killed on the Palestinian side by Israel in the year leading up to that. And that has a very, very easy response. I hope he brings it up.
We will see, because that is exactly where you'd want to. Given what Jonathan Conricus just said right there, that is exactly what you'd want to say if you are Mehdi Hasan, who just admitted that he is a habitual compulsive liar. You know, it's weird. I just have to point out, if you say, "Hey, you're a liar," and you go, "You are too," well, you just kind of admitted you're a liar. So can I trust when you say I'm a liar? Right? Like we need proof. We need proof that I'm a liar too. If you just admitted that you're a liar, but you say I'm a liar, well, you're a liar calling me a liar. So
you see.
So I do need to respond to that. So first of all, as for lecturing you, as I say, 40 countries put out a statement, including many of your own allies, including Hungary, one of the most pro-Israeli countries in Europe, saying stop attacking UN peacekeepers. These are not dark anti-Semitic forces. You can't keep playing an anti-Semitism.
You know what he's talking about there? What's he talking about?
Yeah, but what does that have to do with the entirety of the conflict? So Israel, when the ground invasion, the ground incursion into Lebanon started, in response to Hezbollah firing rockets for a whole year and refusing to stop, when they went in, they issued several warnings to the Lebanese army to say, stand down and get out of the way. We have to, and we will take care of Hezbollah. What the Lebanese army actually did was to get out of the way. They actually, I'm serious, the Lebanese army actually got out of the way. In fact, the reports about what the Lebanese army did on that day when Israel started entering is they, without looking back, they took everything and fled, basically, as far as they could, to go behind certain lines and get out of the way of Israel, because they don't want a confrontation with Israel, and they also want Israel in a way to take care of Hezbollah. So they pretty much collaborated or cooperated with Israel. There is another force in Lebanon, which is the UNIFIL, which is a United Nations peacekeeping group that was assigned to Lebanon. Here is the point. Here is the problem. They were assigned to Lebanon to be there and to make sure that, one, any terrorist activities are avoided, any war crimes are avoided, and that the UN resolution, which would limit Hezbollah's activities to a certain border, would be enforced. The peacekeepers did not abide by any of this. For 18 years, they didn't do anything at all. They did not keep Hezbollah in check. They did not keep Hezbollah behind lines. They let Hezbollah fire rockets at Israel forever, and all they did in response was, we urge Hezbollah to abide by the resolution, without doing anything at all. So Israel said, you guys are obviously not doing anything there, obviously not doing a job. So this is our warning. We are coming in there to take care of Hezbollah. It is now advised for the UN forces to get out of these regions, to get out of the way and let us operate. We didn't ask for this. We are forced to do this. The United Nations peacekeeper groups did not abide by it. They stood on their positions and said, we urge the IDF not to advance where we are. And the IDF said, sorry, no matter what you do, we are coming. We don't have any other choice. So get out of the way. And the UN forces said, no, we will stay here. We will continue doing nothing. So the IDF eventually got in confrontations with them, including firing smoke screens, which they posted on Twitter saying, despite warnings not to approach our forces, Israel fired smoke screens, and now several of our forces have been injured and have been suffering digestive problems and skin rashes and all that. Okay? Weren't you told about this for a month now? Yes, you were. Did you know about this? Yes, you did. Did you not abide by it? Did you force this confrontation to happen? Yes, you pretty much did. So what's the problem? And this is basically what all of this is about. What all of this is about. And now multiple countries then came out and said, despite the lack of cooperation of the UNIFIL, Israel should avoid any kind of violent confrontations with UN peacekeeper forces or else. So that's basically the statement that was put out. And Israel said, we are not trying to attack anybody, but we have to operate. And I'm sorry if things go wrong. That's basically what Israel is saying right here.
According to the Apostate Prophet.
Yes. Plus, there's also lots of evidence that the United Nations peacekeeper forces have been pretty much helping out Hezbollah and cooperating with them. So
yeah, it's weird. You got the UN peacekeeping force, and okay, if you guys are in southern Lebanon or something like that, your job is to make sure that people aren't using that area to constantly attack Israel with rockets. Oh, you never ever do that? You never ever do the one thing you're supposed to do? And we keep waiting for you to do it, and you refuse to do it, fine, then we're going to have to go and stop these guys ourselves. And then you're saying the UN, these peacekeepers say, no, look, you're attacking us. If you come to make these guys stop, then you're attacking us. Stop that. And then various nations around the world go, oh my goodness, Israel's attacking UN peacekeepers by going into these areas in order to stop people from firing endless rockets at them. Something along those lines. That's basically the summary.
Yeah, just the one problem here is that UNIFIL is made up of people from different countries around the world, including Irish and others. So this would directly concern not just people in Lebanon, but people from various different countries assigned by the United Nations to that region, which makes it a bigger problem, and which makes also Israel a little bit anxious about this confrontation. But at this point, Israel has pretty much given up being diplomatic about this situation. And they said, for a whole year, we have endured rockets from Lebanon. You guys are obviously useless and are not doing your jobs. We have to come in, and we hope things will not get wrong.
Yeah. That's so Irish, UNIFIL, peacekeepers, you had your chance to do your job. You failed. You failed miserably. Pack up your frosted Lucky Charms, your hearts, your clovers, your diamonds, your horseshoes. Pack it all up. Pack up all your whiskey, bottles of whiskey. Pack it all up. Get the heck out the way. Get out the way.
It's time to stop with the parties.
Enough parties.
And undermining the very real struggle against anti-Semitism by using it to defend a government that is full of some of the most racist people, anti-Arab, anti-Muslim, anti-Christian people on the face of this planet. You were spokesman for a government that contains people like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, open racists, prosecuted for inciting terrorism. So we're going to talk about lectures. You should keep your lectures to yourself and be...
Imagine the leftist pulling the race card. Hey, the Israeli government is racist, guys. You can't be on the same side with racists. You heard it here. They're racist against... Did he say racist against Christians? He said racist against...
Please.
Huh?
Please play that again. This is so disgustingly dishonest. Please play it again.
Okay.
Anti-Semitism by using it to defend a government that is full of some of the most racist people, anti-Arab, anti-Muslim, anti-Christian people on the face of this planet. You were spokesman for a government that contains people like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, open racists, prosecuted for inciting terrorism. So we're going to talk about lectures. You should keep your lectures to yourself and be embarrassed for the government you serve.
There is one thing here, which is that he once again asserts that that Jonathan Conricus here is a spokesperson for the government, which is not the case. He's a spokesman for the IDF.
He even said it when he's talking about Netanyahu. He was like, "I'm not a spokesman for that guy. I'm not a spokesman. I was a spokesman for the IDF." And he's like, "You're a spokesman for the government."
It doesn't matter to Jonathan Conricus who is in the government. It could be Greens, it could be leftists, it could be religious Zionists, it could be anti-Zionist Jews, it could be whoever it is. It doesn't matter. The guy is a spokesperson for the IDF, not for the government.
And it's just weird, by the way, that if you're let's say you're a spokesman for the military, right? So imagine the U.S. and spokesman for the military. And then if it gets brought up, if you say something, they go, you're a spokesman representing the government, which includes, and then you just, oh, look, Ilhan Omar and the horrible things she says. And she says defund the police. You're a spokesman for defunding the police. Look at Rashida Tlaib. Look at AOC. Look at all these people. This is what you're defending. This is what you're all about. Isn't that like stupid?
Yeah.
And that's stupid.
And here is one thing. Now he said, racist anti-Arab, anti-Muslim, anti-Christian. Now, he brought up anti-Christian into this, and this is a very, very a new way of trying to appeal to
It's racism.
to
Anti-Christian
Christians,
racism.
to certain Christian groups, to then rile them up against Israel. Here is the thing: I will not say anything about whether certain people in the Israeli government are anti-Arab or anti-Muslim or not. There's no denying that they're obviously, after such long decades of brutal fighting and Allahu Akbars, and then blowing yourselves up, throwing bombs into buses, engaging in mass shootings in the name of Allah, obviously you will have harsh responses. However, when it comes to anti-Christian, I'm really curious who this guy can actually cite as anti-Christian, the most anti-Christian. I really wonder what kind of policies this guy can actually cite as completely anti-Christian. There were two people out of all of the politicians in the Israeli parliament, the Knesset, that at one point said, for the protection of the Jewish culture and identity, we should make it illegal for another religion to proselytize, which would include Christians, Muslims, and others. These two people, with their suggestion, were rejected by Netanyahu and by their own leaders and by everyone else as making an absurd demand, and it never became a serious thing. All that happened was that at some point it made the news because two guys suggested such a thing. That's it. That's all you can cite. That's literally all you can cite. On the other hand, Israel.
And by the way, but he was saying that shows that Israel's the most racist place on the planet.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
On the other hand, Israel is in the Middle East the most pro-Christian country in the Middle East. Okay. Show me any other country in the Middle East where Christians can totally freely go out, preach the gospel, carry crosses, practice Christian things, relive and redo Christian rituals.
They'll spit on you. I've seen the videos. I've seen the videos. They spit on you.
You have literally throughout the Christian world, throughout the Muslim world, it is forbidden to preach the gospel to Muslims. It is forbidden. It is illegal. In multiple Muslim countries, it is illegal to preach Christianity to Muslims. And this guy is talking about Israel as anti-Christian. Are you serious?
And they're the most extreme racist because you had those two people there, and they did try to make a law, and they were laughed out of court. But they did try, and that proves that Israel's guys. This is what we're talking about when you can tell by how someone reacts differently to Jews, right? There are all sorts of criticisms you can legitimately bring up about things Israel does or things that any other government does. When the only thing you seem to care about in the world, and then you massively dial it up and blow it out of proportion, something like that, and you only do this with Jews, it kind of looks like you just have a problem with Jews, right? In other words, when you look and you say, look, the Jews come over there, these two people who did this, you see, everyone is like that. Or, look, I saw a video where a Jew spit in the direction of a Christian. You see, that's what Jews are like. But you don't do that with any other group in the world. Kind of looks like you just have a problem with Jews. And so I'd have to say, really looks like Mehdi here just has a problem with Jews.
I would suggest, just very briefly, I would just suggest everyone, if you want to find out whether you can actually preach, to Jews in Israel, very, very simple. Look up preaching the gospel to Israelis. You will see lots of videos, including from Messianic Jews, including from Christians, who go around in the streets of Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and other places, and actually have street discussions with Jews, telling them that Jesus Christ is the Messiah and God, and so on. Most of these discussions go very, very nicely, and nobody is being persecuted. Now go and try the same thing in Pakistan.
Yeah, and we talked to a Messianic Jew who lives there, and he said he basically had one problem ever in 20 years of evangelizing in Israel where things actually people got physical and stuff. He said most of the time, Jews are actually like curious and interested.
Yeah.
Like, what? You're a Jew, but you believe in Jesus? Why? What? He says they want it. They're actually like, they'll ask him like that's how they are. Ask Mehdi Hasan. Say, hey, what's going to happen if a Christian goes over? They're going to spit on him, and they're going to spit on him, and they'll probably kill him because it's the most racist place in the entire world. What is this, dude?
You living in the region. The problem is not you living in the region. The problem is the army you served and the country you were a spokesman for illegally occupies other people's lands in the West Bank, in Gaza, in the Golan Heights, now in Lebanon again. You are the country that is illegally occupying other people's lands. It's not about you living in your homes. It's about you taking other people's homes. It's about Israel now aiming to annex Gaza, according to Haaretz this week, that Netanyahu no longer has any interest in saving the hostages, as he never did, and is eyeing annexation of Gaza, to quote the Israeli newspaper Haaretz. And if we're going to talk about people dying on October the 7th, some of us have condemned that. Some of us oppose that. You only oppose attacks on Israel. You support attacks on non-Israelis. On Monday, let's say his name. Shaban Ahmed, 19 years old.
Oh, really?
No.
Really?
You don't get to interrupt me. Sorry, you do not get to interrupt me.
By the way, do you hear him? Now he's saying, "Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me." When he was interrupting, Jonathan Conricus repeatedly. But note, this is called gish galloping, right? You're presenting, and then you're saying, "Don't interrupt me." You're bringing point after point after point after point after point, knowing that he will never have a chance to respond to all of this. You just don't. Because any issue that he has brought, that Mehdi just brought up, might take a minute or two to respond to, and you're just not gonna have 20 uninterrupted minutes to go point by point and so on. So this is what's called gish galloping. I'm pointing out specifically here because Mehdi constantly complains about gish galloping. If anyone brings up more than a point at a time, you're gish galloping now. But it's exactly what he does. And then he's bringing up this. I think he's let's go ahead and let him.
Taking the high ground on interruptions. You'll come back in. Piers will bring you back in. I'm going to finish my point uninterrupted. Otherwise, don't be a hypocrite, as well as someone who represents fascists. A 1919-year-old young man, Shaban Ahmed, was a software engineering student.
You're the one who's
can
paid by
I finish my sentence, Piers, or is it going to be one way?
Jonathan, just wait.
Did you hear what he said? Can I finish my sentence? You just made like 20 points in a row, and didn't, and then so. He realizes, okay, I just have to jump in, and then you whine and say, I can't even finish.
I will bring you.
Piers, you can't tell me not to interrupt, otherwise this conversation will.
Finish your point, and I'll bring.
He's doing something even worse than what I predicted. I predicted that he would go into so-called Palestinians killed before October 7th, and talk about them. For which there is a very, very simple explanation. In fact, I would recommend. Adin Haikin, he was on my channel before. He was also on Israel Advocacy Movement. The guy keeps a thread on every single person that was killed as a result of confrontations with the IDF in the West Bank. And for every single person that was killed, he directly presents evidence of how they died. The vast majority of those killed, which the other side always claims were just innocent Palestinians. The vast majority are people who get into a conflict because they're trying to attack a border police officer. They're trying to attack the IDF. They're trying to carry out a different terrorist attack, or they are spotted with something dangerous, and they do not stop or walk toward the IDF and try to endanger their lives, and so on. There are only a tiny minority among them are civilian casualties that are caught in fire because they were next to some terrorist or something like that, which happens, which is unfortunate, but it happens. So the vast majority of those killed in the West Bank before October 7 are actual legitimate targets. When it comes to this example, what he just presented, he is talking about the person who several days ago died in a hospital building or a hospital tent in Gaza when Israel carried out another operation. Okay, the one thing that he's complaining about now, that he's bringing up now, is that unfortunately a civilian casualty happened during war, and probably an uninvolved person, uninvolved in the conflict, died. This is really your objection to the issue? On October 7, Hamas attacked and brutally killed over 1,000 people, mostly civilians. Israel then responded and said, we will not let this happen again ever, and started waging a war and said from the beginning, for a year now, if you surrender immediately this will be over. And Mehdi Hasan's response here is seriously bringing up civilian casualties in this war. This is just so ridiculous, man.
And I saw this part. I believe Jonathan Conricus replies and points out that Israel was attacking a stash of weapons, and that it's the weapons that exploded and then lit a place up, and that's why this guy burned. It is we are entering a different phase of war in the sense that, you know, World War II, tens of millions of people died. World War II. If every person that died, people were sitting there filming the person's horrible death and so on and posting it on social media and so it would look really bad. It's really going to look bad. It's really going to really look bad, because when you hear about someone dying, that's one thing. If you actually see someone like getting caught in something or getting bombed and they're still alive and so on, it looks really bad. To act like, oh, since now we catch these things on camera, therefore you can't go after terrorists, because as you do, and if you target their weapons supply or something like this, then their weapon supply blows up and then people burn to death or something like that, then therefore you I don't know, it's just this like weird form of thinking, like now war has to stop because now we can make anyone who's conducting any sort of war look really horrible by showing the people who are caught in it on social media. Weird stuff here.
Oh, please don't threaten us, Mehdi.
Don't worry, Piers, I will.
So desperately.
Okay, Mehdi, finish your point.
A 19-year-old... You keep interrupting, Jonathan. People can see what a hypocrite you are. 19-year-old student, Shaban Ahmed, software engineering student at Al-Azhar University. Jonathan's military destroyed his university, destroyed his house, displaced him, made him homeless 5 times over the past year. On Monday, we all watched him burn to death thanks to Israelis bombing the area outside the hospital. He was on an IV, on a bed, in a tent. He burned to death. His mother died. 3 other people died. I'm not sure how Jonathan still comes on these shows and defends that kind of barbarism and open war crimes. I'm not sure how Jonathan sleeps at night watching people burn to death thanks to the military that he served and is now being investigated both at the international...
So first, Conricus, according to Mehdi, was defending racism and the most racist government in the world, the most racist people in the world, the most anti-Christian, anti-Arab people in the world. Now he's defending, sounds like, according, if I were just to listen to Mehdi, Jonathan is defending targeting people in hospitals with IVs in their arms and like targeting them, going after these people and burning them alive. That's what Jonathan is the champion of right now, according to Mehdi. Let's see.
Even if it was, if Israel actually targeted the place, right, and which resulted in Israel targeting the place, and then as a result of that, killing that person, and Israel made a misstep and accidentally targeted the wrong thing. Even if that was the case, which is not what happened, it would still be a civilian casualty in the middle of a war which Mehdi Hasan still justifies pretty much from his own perspective by supporting very much Hamas's talking points and Hamas's reasons for doing October 7.
Again, he blames Israel for everything, with the situation with Iran and so on, with Hezbollah. Well, but look, they were minding their own business when Jews kept attacking them.
Yeah. But that's not what happened. What happened is actually that Israel once again carried out an operation that was quite precise and targeted, however, which had unforeseen consequences, which is because Hamas tends to operate in extremely dirty ways with the civilian population. As a result of which, a horrible incident did happen where somebody who is seemingly uninvolved was died and is also seen on camera. But what's more disgusting here is not that this person died and that this person, unfortunately got killed. What's more disgusting is to exploit the death of an uninvolved person for propaganda. This is called atrocity propaganda. We have seen lots of people burn to death. We have seen lots of people raped by your Palestinian rapist terrorists on October 7 when they came in and they raped, they took off people's clothes, they bound them up, set them on fire in the middle of the streets, while others afterward came and said, Allahu Akbar, look at these dead settlers. We have it all on camera. This is not being promoted by Israelis all day long. People like me and others share this online. Israeli government doesn't want to use this kind of stuff. Otherwise, they could have been using that too. We have seen lots of people burn on October 7. You cannot justify this conflict. You cannot justify the violence and then point at something unfortunate, at a civilian casualty, and say, how can you not think about this thing that happened here? You are the ones who want war. You are the ones who justify war from the so-called Palestinian perspective. And now you have to deal with the consequences. That's it.
Think about how brilliant but evil but brilliant this is. Guys, just imagine a more limited scenario. Suppose we're talking about the club. Suppose you're rubbing up in the club, dancing up in the club, something like that. You're dancing in the club, right? If you really, really, really want to portray someone as bad, and you just don't care. You just don't care how bad you look in the process because, you know, people really don't like this other guy. So let's suppose a guy's up in there with his girl. You walk up in the club. To the guy who's there with his girl, and you just clock his girl right in the face. I mean, you just punch his girl right in the face, knock her clean out. Then what do? You run up in the middle of a bunch of girls dancing, right? You run. You clock the guy's girl right in front of him, then you run up in the middle of a bunch of girls. This guy comes right at you. He starts swinging. Guess what? If you're brawling in the middle of a club with a bunch of people dancing, some girls are getting hit in that process. And then look what this guy does. Oh my goodness. This guy's in the club punching girls in the face. Look, a girl just got knocked over in this fight. Look what's going on here. Look what this monster's doing. Anyone could do that, guys. Hamas has just perfected it. They've perfected the art of embedding themselves or underneath civilians, behind civilians, and so on, so that they'll attack you and then they'll run and hide among civilians, hoping that you kill a bunch of civilians in the process, so they can say that you're the bad guys. Crazy stuff.
Here's another
Crazy
example.
stuff. What?
Another example, somebody goes into a crowd, let's say at, I don't know, a mall, and starts firing at people, firing, then gets behind a bunch of civilians, let's say a woman, a mother, and hides behind her and still continues firing and fires, and in the process kills a bunch of people. The other side wants to fire back, but is worried because the hostage there is in grave danger, and it's very difficult to hit that person that is firing. But as it continues, more and more people get hurt, and they have no place to escape. As a result, in a difficult situation, somebody tries to take out this person, this mass murderer. In the process, unfortunately, the woman also gets hurt and dies. Now, who is to be blamed for the death of this woman? Is it those people who try to end the violence? Or
What? It's the answer to everything. Who's to blame? If you start off with who's to blame, Jews. That's what we've learned from everyone. That's what we've learned from the past year. Jews are always to blame for everything.
That's actually pretty good. So, yeah.
That's a situation. Back to
Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court.
Jonathan?
Yeah, speaking about serving, and then I'll address the points that you've mentioned. Speaking about serving and standing up for something, I indeed served for 24 years in the IDF, and I'm a proud Israeli Zionist, and I'm a proud Israeli patriot. And I also am very proud of my service, including as a spokesperson, but also including as a combat officer in the IDF. I know what I stand for. I'm asking, what do you stand for? What kind of values do you stand for?
I don't stand for killing civilians like your military.
No, of course.
Wait. Wasn't he the guy who just said don't interrupt?
Yeah.
You'll get to answer.
Well, Jonathan, did you witness rape? You were a combatant officer.
Mehdi,
did you witness the rape of detainees?
Mehdi, you will get
you asked
to
me a
answer.
question.
Mehdi, I'm not done. Don't
ask me questions if you don't want answers.
for a country that is Mehdi. You spoke. Now
he didn't ask him a question.
I ask, and I would ultimately would like to hear your answer to it. What values you represent? What civilization do you represent? Which country do you represent? Which religion do you represent? And what do you stand for? What do you defend? I know what I do. I'm part of a democracy in the Middle East, and I stand for a military that defends its population against some of the most vile terrorists in the world, including Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iranian propped-up terrorists. And I am happy and proud to be part of that organization, as I've been over many years. And if you and I were race car drivers, Mehdi, and each of us had a patch sewn onto our little uniforms that indicated who gives us money and who sponsors us, I would have one patch of my country and I would have one patch of my employer. That would be it. How many patches would you have? How big would the Qatari patch be on your clothes? And how big would foreign investment in whatever it is that you're doing and whatever it is that you're representing, how much would that be of what you do? Because you place yourself as if you are above and as if you are entitled to criticize everything that Israel does. And I ask, what are your motives and who pays for what you do?
So
that seems weird, because I would have preferred that Conricus actually respond to, like, pick one or two things that Mehdi was bringing up and said he's but
why?
He's bringing up like the underlying issue here. It's like you really go after Israel on all these tons and tons of things. What's behind this? What's behind all of this? Is there, in other words, is this just you? Is this just you just really not like Israel, or are you like connected in other ways? Because he's a Shia Muslim. He's said some pretty messed up things in the past that he's apologized for and so on, when he sounded too radical, and then he ended up sounding like went in the direction of a hardcore leftist and so on. But he does seem to just constantly give all the standard, like, Iranian talking points and so on. So it looks like he was just like, is anyone else pulling the strings for you?
It's funny because Mehdi Hasan gets visibly uncomfortable as a result of Jonathan Conricus' questioning here, and of course you would expect Conricus to address the issue. The thing is, I get it. He probably thinks, "What's the point? What's the point in engaging in this?" The guy has multiple conversations and interviews and debates every day about this whole thing. That's what he does, literally every day. And here's Mehdi Hasan coming again with these talking points. Of course, Jonathan Conricus is not here asking an actual question and expecting an actual answer. He's not actually curious. He knows very well. Israel knows who is in charge of Mehdi Hasan. They know that Qatar pays Mehdi Hasan. They know that he serves a certain agenda. But it's a very interesting perspective indeed, where you have a representative of a country and its military, and on the other hand, you have some guy who doesn't stand for anything, but who serves certain interests. He's not representing a certain country. He's not representing a certain policy, a certain ideology. He is simply representing the people that pay him. It's actually a very interesting thing to get into, and I really wonder what he wants to say in response to this. He'll probably deflect and probably not answer the question.
No, he's going to say... Yeah, he's going to say he doesn't have any patches for anyone. He's just himself and so on. And so it was interesting. You had Jonathan, like, I'll tell you exactly what I stand for and who I support in this. I'll tell you exactly who do you support and who are you standing for? And of course, Mehdi will be, he's the good guy in all of this and so on.
I want to say one thing briefly. Jonathan Conricus there mentioned that he stands for and supports a democracy in the Middle East, Israel. And Mehdi Hasan scoffed in response to that. I just want to let everyone know there is a political party in the Israeli parliament, in the Knesset, a political union of parties that is an Islamist, pro-Arab, conservative, Islamist party. Yes, you heard that right. It is officially an Islamist party that pushes political Islamic ideas for Israeli society, for Israeli Arabs, and so on. It is known as the United Arab List, which is made up of different factions, including secular and also Islamists. And the Islamists have quite some stuff to say. This is in Israel. Does this really sound like the Israel that people always talk about and say they're racist, Islamophobic, they're oppressing Muslims, oppressing Arabs? This is an actual country where you can elect Islamists into the parliament to represent themselves.
What are you talking about? They're the most racist group in the world, according to Mehdi.
So it's a very simple answer, as I told Jonathan Levine of the New York Post. And I love this new talking point, Piers. It's got around the right-wing media and the pro-Israel people. I run a company called Zeteo. People can check it out, zeteo.com.
What's
it's a great
Zeteo?
media organization
What's
getting
Zeteo?
very good press from the Washington Post and others. There are no foreign investors. They're all American investors. I'm an American. You asked a question. I know you can't handle brown people, being part of the West. I'm an American. I'm a Brit. I was born in the UK. I'm now an American taxpayer.
Everyone's a racist. Everyone's a racist.
I'm very concerned with American taxes going towards the funding of a genocide.
Keep in mind, he literally just asked him, hey, it looks like the stuff you're defending, I don't know, see some other countries and stuff defending the same talking points. Anyone behind any of this? You're racist. You're racist. You're racist. You don't like brown people. You don't like brown people. That was his response.
It's a weird thing to say to an Israeli. That's a weird thing to say to an Israeli whose country is mostly made up of people who are brown.
18-year-old guy who's in an IV in a hospital bed, going towards the killing of children in a school, going towards the killing of 23 people from one family in Lebanon Monday, in northern Lebanon. 23 people bombed by your military, 2 babies killed, Jonathan. That is what you stand for. You serve the IDF, the Israeli military, which, as I say, is being investigated at the ICJ, and the ICC. You serve a military that has been credibly accused by the United Nations just last week, by Israeli media, which showed videos of mass rape of Palestinian detainees. The New York Times this week reported that your military sent Palestinian children, as human shields into booby-trapped tunnels and buildings. Is that what you did, Jonathan? Can you tell us today, did you ever send a Palestinian child as a human shield into a tunnel? Because the New York Times is saying your military did that. The World Food Program is saying your military is starving the people of northern Gaza. Did you starve people when you were in the military, Jonathan? What do you stand for? Starvation? Mass rape? Ethnic cleansing? Genocide? Every human rights group in the world says your military is a
and racism against brown people.
I don't know how many human rights you've yourself
extreme racism against brown people.
I don't know if you turned a blind eye to rape on your custody. I don't know if you killed children at at point blank range like Israeli snipers did to people carrying white flags. You can tell us today how many people you've killed.
Confess.
Confess. I'll be all day.
Listen, sometimes
this is
funny
because this is funny because an anti-Zionist. This is an anti-Zionist's dream here, an anti-Zionist's wet dream. The guy is brutally gish galloping here, and also, again, as we both pointed out, he has the good rhetoric to push for an anti-Zionist position. There are probably lots of people who are feeling sensually satisfied listening to Mehdi Hasan talking about these things and gish galloping. They're like, oh, yes, it's so beautiful.
I told you he's a machine. Let's go ahead and check out the response here.
We saw it with our own eyes. We saw a woman with a white flag.
Jonathan, we've seen people.
All right, you've got questions, Mehdi. Let him
We've
respond.
seen people gunned down with white flags.
Pierce is saying, let him respond to something.
Saying your list of false allegations and your list of nonsense that you are spewing out.
Everything true.
Guys, do you hear him? Anytime Jonathan responds to anything he's saying, even if it's after he's spoken for several minutes and without interruption, then, let me speak. As soon as Jonathan starts replying, he starts jumping in. It's weird.
Founded things that the fact that someone wrote it doesn't make it true. All of these things that
we saw people with white flags gunned down in front of our eyes.
By someone.
Jonathan, Piers has seen it, and I've seen it, and everyone watching this show has seen it.
All of what you are saying is slanted and biased, and I read parts of your book, and I know exactly what you're doing. What you're doing is trying to use.
Thank you for reading the book. It's called Win Every Argument, and you're losing.
Well, let other people be the judge of that.
Piers can tell us. Piers can tell us.
But what I can say,
have you watched people?
Guys, isn't it? If you toss out 20 accusations, and then as soon as the person starts responding, you start interjecting at every point so that he never ever gets to respond. I don't know. If you were confident in your points, you might want to let him actually respond to hear him out.
People gunned down by the IDF, Piers. Why don't you jump in as a moderator and clarify who's telling the truth?
Mehdi, I can tell you categorically, Mehdi.
I can tell you immediately that there is no video at all anywhere where you can see the IDF shooting down people who are waving white flags. There simply is not. There is no such thing. If you think there is, go and prove it. Yes, you will have footage on which you can ambiguously see that a group of people are waving white flags and then apparently they are being shot at. That's what's happening. An interrupted footage. However, you don't have footage of the IDF shooting at unarmed people with white flags. These are two completely different things. These are completely different two things.
Not according to Mehdi Hasan, so.
That under the circumstances that Israel finds itself under, I cannot think of any military that would behave in a more humane way. And I say that in 100% sincerity, without blinking.
The International Criminal Court Chief Prosecutor disagrees with you,
and I will
Jonathan.
continue to say it, Mehdi, and I will continue to say it.
Whatever makes you feel good.
Is it, guys? Again, it's take your pick. Either no interruptions, or if you're going to interrupt everything the guy says, do not complain when he interrupts you. It's just fair is fair. If you get to, it's this weird situation. It reminds me of like the Dawah guys in the sense that here are rules for you, but we don't follow those rules. We have rules for you. You have to follow these rules, but we don't have to follow those same rules. Those rules are for you, not for us. And it sounds like Mehdi here. I get to interrupt everything you say, but under no circumstances will you open your mouth if I'm speaking.
This is such a weird display of narcissism here on Mehdi Hasan's part, where it seems to be more about the debate than about the truth. He's talking about losing debate, winning debate, losing argument, winning argument.
It is similar to like the me strong than you. Yeah. Let's see.
Hezbollah and Iranian apologists like yourself, and I will continue to say it and know that I stand on firm ground. Is Israel perfect?
Piers
Do we
said,
never
don't do
make
ad hominem.
mistakes?
How am I an Iranian
Definitely
apologist?
not. Israel. Well, you just said that Israel was the one that attacked Iran when Iran was minding its own business, which is absolutely
don't care
ludicrous.
about your feelings, Jonathan. April 2024.
He's saying don't attack me. You literally just what were you raping people? Were you there for raping people? Were you shooting people with white flags? Were you doing this? Were you doing? And as soon as I don't know what to do, man.
He just used Ben Shapiro's line. Why did he do that?
Yeah, to impress people.
Trying to
an Iranian consulate in Syria.
Mehdi, you are the one who's only trying to play on feelings and on sad stories.
If you don't respond to any facts, it's up to Piers and his show.
Horrible.
You know, here's what I think, guys. I think this was working very powerfully when you give each other the chance to respond to each other. Okay, you both feel very strongly about it.
Okay, so let's do that from now.
You both have passionate views. I understand that. You disagree with each other. I think for the audience at home watching, if you talk over each other, we lose it.
Well, Jonathan can't stop being racist.
Well, Jonathan,
Jonathan can't stop being racist. He can't stop being racist.
Let Jonathan
Did you hear that? Jonathan can't stop being racist. He can't stop being racist. Yeah, guys.
What racism are we talking about? Where's the racism?
It's just, what has he said that was remotely racist or would be interpreted by races as racist by a sane person? This is the weird part. Mehdi can just fire off points, got a great memory for storing information to attack people and stuff, but he still has that tendency to, you're racist. It's like the chunk yogurt thing.
He suddenly sounds like Ben Affleck. That's
gross. It's racist. It's gross. It's racist. So, guys, I mean, it's a brilliant strategy if you're trying to, I don't know. It's more like Mohammed Hijab at this point, but I don't know. It's accuse the guy of a bunch of stuff and then don't actually let him respond. Let's see if they actually let him respond here.
Jonathan finish, and then Mehdi respond. Jonathan, finish your point.
But I've acknowledged the racism.
I think that what you've said is a laundry list of some of the low-hanging fruit and the concoctions that have been made up against Israel. Some of it may have a kernel of truth, and there may have been 10 soldiers who did something, and there may have been other soldiers who did something else that was wrong and that they shouldn't do. Is it common practice? No. Is it something that is sanctioned by the IDF? No. You tell us the sad story of the Palestinian who was unfortunately killed in the Israeli strike, or as a by-result of an Israeli strike in Deir el-Balach yesterday. He was killed not because he was a target. He was killed because Hamas ammunitions that were stored by Hamas in close proximity to that location exploded. The IDF fired 2 small bombs at that location, and they wouldn't have exploded and caused that kind of fire had it not been for Hamas weapons there. If you care about Palestinian civilians, and as a human being, I was sad to see. I saw his video before. He looked like a very nice and decent human being, and it's sad that he and his family were killed. I saw the movie of burning people. It hurt me as a human being as well, and I wouldn't want to see it again, and I wouldn't want that to be reality in Gaza. But the reason that happened isn't because the IDF is fighting there. It's because Hamas is storing weapons there, and they're abusing humanitarian facilities, and they're using schools and mosques and whatever is left of hospitals in order to fight from. And then the IDF targets where the Hamas is fighting from. And unfortunately, people have gotten wounded. I regret that. I know for certain that that wasn't the intention of the IDF. It's a very sad and regrettable side effect of that happened. And I'm sure that the IDF will be extra careful in the next time that they attack. But it doesn't make it deliberate. But I think it's hypocritical of you, and I will finish. I think it's hypocritical.
Well, there's something very funny here, which is that Mehdi Hasan always has the worst interpretation when it comes to something that Israel allegedly did, and always the best explanation for the other side. When he sees a video, which he just talked about, for example, the white flag video, where people who were waving white flags were allegedly shot at, and he immediately, without any evidence, you can check it for yourself. If you check the media, you will see no single credible media source say that this is the IDF shooting at unarmed civilians who were doing nothing at all. That's not what the footage shows. The footage simply shows certain people waving a flag, and then you have interrupted footage later on that somebody is firing, that something is happening. The IDF has never commented on it. They said all they said about it is that they will investigate it. That's it. We usually always, when the IDF acknowledges something that should not be done, that is not in alignment with principles, they take action and take disciplinary action and so on. Here in this instance, in the hospital situation, for example, you have the IDF carrying out an operation, as a result of which a man dies who is apparently uninvolved in the conflict. His immediate interpretation of the situation is that the IDF deliberately targeted him and killed him. How do you go for that? Do you have evidence for that? No. Can you actually demonstrate it? No. Can you rule out all of the other options, all of the other explanations? No, you can't. Can you even rule out that Hamas doesn't use human shields, that Hamas doesn't store weapons and bombs and so on in civilian places? No, you can't, because the very same organizations and the very same people that you appeal to when you criticize Israel have again and again and again confirmed that Hamas does indeed use civilians as human shields, and does indeed fire from civilian places, and does indeed store weapons and ammunition in civilian buildings and hospitals. This is Amnesty International confirmed it, the United Nations confirmed it, all the human rights organizations around the world confirmed it. All of these people have confirmed it, but he will completely ignore that kind of stuff. Always go for the worst explanation when it comes to accusing Israel. This is what he does.
And that's pretty much you have people who are overtly anti-Semitic or just hate Jews, and they'll acknowledge it. And then you have the people who, no, I'm not anti-Semitic, but you kind of show by your actions, by doing what you just said. Anything that any Jew is ever involved in, you give it the worst possible interpretation. And anything on the opposite side, you always give it the most favorable interpretation imaginable. And we see this all the time. With, look, the Jews, Israel bombed that ship all those years ago, and they instantly apologized and then, made reparations and stuff like that and said they thought it was an Egyptian ship. No, you're trying to kill Americans. You're trying to kill Americans. It must be because you're Jews. Yeah, that's anyway, let's let
what would Israel even achieve by killing some random
nothing.
Guy?
Yeah, nothing. This is just bad.
These guys think that somehow they could somehow explain by that Israel is trying to take out the entire population or carry out a genocide. How? By killing random people here and there, and thereby wiping out a population of 2 million people?
That's what they do.
I'm sure that the IDF will be extra careful in the next time that they attack, but it doesn't make it deliberate. But I think it's hypocritical of you, and I will finish. I think it's hypocritical of you, Mehdi, that you don't speak about the fact that why are they there in the beginning? Why are there ammunition stored in a hospital? Why is Hamas using hospitals to fight? Isn't that something that should be criticized even by a highfalutin person like you?
Okay, Mehdi.
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. It's all the Jews. It's all the Jews. A couple super chats. Hear me out.
The Jew asked me this question.
Hear me out, AP. Is it possible Yahya thought the IDF drone was one of his disobedient wives, and he was only trying to discipline her with his muswak?
That makes sense. That's a good explanation.
That is entirely possible, Abe Lincoln.
The video does look kind of weird. It's like a zombie footage, like zombie throwing.
It's pretty creepy, man.
He's dying.
Start counting from the 7th century when Arab colonialized the land. In 1948, decolonization took place. Great news. No, because the Jews are there now. Columbus teachings to be banned by the Muslim world.
You see.
It has been reported that flags at the UN buildings have been lowered and social media accounts of UN staff have black lines across them in honor of Sinwar's death. Is this credible? I don't know.
I doubt it. It wouldn't be that obvious.
That'd be pretty weird. Pretty weird. Pretty weird. Mehdi Hasan is a paid puppet of Qatar or Qatar, depending on
Qatar.
Qatar. Natasha Hausdorff explained on Winston Marshall's show that Mossad had intel that indicated that a possible October 7th was expected by Hezbollah and not by Hamas. Are you familiar with that? So some people were saying they were expecting something on October 7th. They just thought it was the North and not Hamas.
There are lots of different things. Apparently, there were initial reports that some people misinterpreted as saying that Israel received intel that Hamas is going to carry out an attack, but Israel just let it happen. That's not true. What happened is that apparently they received intel that something is about to happen or somebody is going to carry out an attack, but there were mixed signals. And the allegations, the accusations from the inside are that the authorities, those in charge, did not take it seriously or did not act upon it and had internal disagreements on it and so on. But that is also not one of those explanations. It's just something really, really went wrong on October 7th.
Lloyd says the chin is mightier than the worm. Imam Winger. That is true. Iman Winger. That's true. Even Mahdi speaks more rationally and reasonably than Mahdi does. Yes, I talk to him from time to time about philosophy, history, and politics. Mahdi. Mm-hmm. Why do you?
That's what I always say.
That's a pretty disturbing joke.
I made the same joke to my wife earlier today. So.
Regarding UN forces in Lebanon, the problem is Hezbollah firing from near their post, using them as shields. It does seem to be a common tactic. I'm taking a class on the spread of Christianity, but professor keeps showing videos about Islam and the Hagia Sophia, saying it's peaceful and all. Yes, the siege of Constantinople was extremely, extremely peaceful.
I like spread of Nutella.
Mm-hmm. Your mama's so fat, every time she puts on her niqab and goes outside, Muslim men walk around her anti-clockwise 7 times. That was similar to the one, your mama's so fat, she went to Mecca and they thought there were 2 Kaabas. Issa says, hey bros, looking to your debate tomorrow with CD. Yeah, that'll be funny. That'd be fun. My mom's neighbor left South Africa since they wouldn't treat his cancer because he's white and Jewish. That's weird. Can AP show us the Mehdi Hasan vid edit from X? What do you mean, the song? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Mehdi's rape.
There's somebody put Mehdi Hasan's face on the woman who goes.
Oh, okay, that's funny. That's funny. Mehdi's rape allegations were dismissed. A prisoner claimed rape but was debunked medically, and the rape video was proved fake by Channel 11. Doesn't matter how much It doesn't matter if it's proven faked or not. I have to say here.
It sounds like he's a rapist
I have to say,
by his own standards.
in any war, see, lots of people go to war and it's not too close to home. In other words, if the United States goes and fights in some place in the world, if U.S. soldiers go and fight in some place on the other side of the planet or something like that, nothing is really terribly personal for them, right? Very different if you're dealing with terrorists who just attacked your people, because we have seen this from U.S. soldiers. When you had the war in Iraq, right? Keep in mind, they're over there. These guys haven't done much to these guys personally. These terrorists that you're fighting haven't done much personally to these guys, but sometimes they did, right? Sometimes you catch a terrorist from a group that just set a mine and killed 3 of your buddies. What happens in those situations? Sometimes soldiers cross some lines. In other words, they capture a terrorist that they know what this guy has done. Sometimes these guys cross lines, right? That happens. Things like that happen all the time. If anything that's involving human beings, you are going to have a concept of revenge and vengeance and so on. And if you catch a guy and you know this guy's done some messed up, horrible stuff and you know who you're dealing with and stuff, keep in mind, I'm not defending him. I'm not saying, hey, you should do something to this person. No, you should do your job and what you have agreed to do, and you should honor the oaths and follow the leaders as you have sworn to do. But if you have, let's suppose you have 10,000 soldiers and they're fighting and lots of bad stuff happens in war, are some of these guys going to cross lines and do some messed up stuff? Yeah, that is always going to happen. If you are in World War II and you know these Nazis took out your guys, and all of a sudden you capture these guys, are there situations where people are going to do some messed up stuff? Yes, there is. And so if you said Israelis caught some guy, and I don't know who that guy is, right? They caught some guy and they're like, hey, this is the guy who was posting stuff. This is the guy who was posting stuff on October 7th, or this is his buddy or something like that. Is it possible that there are guys in situations like that who are going to do some messed up stuff? Yes. And I'm going to lose minutes of sleep over that sort of thing. Here's the thing. I'm not approving of crossing those lines and doing stuff, but that sort of thing, I'm pretty sure, happens a lot in these kinds of situations. And there's a war going on with Ukraine right now. Are there situations right now that we don't have access to? Are there situations where the Ukrainians capture some Russian soldiers and then do some messed up stuff to them? I guarantee you. I'm not looking at it. I'm not following it, but I can guarantee you it's happening. The difference is, if some Ukrainian soldiers captured some Russians and then shoved something in their butts or something like that, people say like, hey, shame on those Ukrainian soldiers for doing that. If some Israeli soldiers do it, you see, this is what the Jews in Israel stand for, and this is what Jonathan Conricus is defending right now. Everything is all of Israel doing it. Everything is totally different for some reason. Any other group in the world, and we heard this for years from Muslims. Hey, just because this guy and this group are terrorizing you and blowing up trains and blowing up planes and flying planes into buildings, don't associate that with other Muslims. It's only the person who's doing it who is remotely at fault. Do not associate that with anyone else, even if they are cheering for that guy. Do not associate it with anything else. In Israel, any random Jew in history who's done anything becomes the stand-in for every other Jew on the planet and for the nation of Israel. And it seems a little weird that they're the only group that gets treated like that.
And additional note here is that on that one video that every single one of these people refers to, where allegedly somebody in a detention camp was raped, which we don't even have on footage. All we have is somebody doing something to someone's body, allegedly with an object, while a dog is there. Apparently they're searching him, maybe cavity search, I don't know. But in that case, the person, the so-called victim, is a Hamas operative, a Hamas police officer. You know what? While I do not endorse anything at all, any mistreatment, I don't care what happened to the guy. I don't care. Why in the world would I care? And why in the world would you bring that up? I don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody should care. And I can second what you just said about doing something messed up in response to certain atrocities committed by the other side. If I was a soldier, if I was in the army, and I got a hold of something, of somebody who I know is responsible for brutal atrocities against people that I love, against my family, against people that I have known, if I got a hold of such a person, I would probably. It would be very likely for me to, I shouldn't be doing that, but it would be very likely for me to take matters into my own hands and to make an example out of that person. And I would then also accept the consequences for my disciplinary failure, and would be punished and would accept the punishment for being out of line. That said, I would still probably have done it, which is why I don't belong into an army. But that doesn't mean that the army itself is wrong, and it doesn't mean that the entire nation itself is wrong, especially if this entire nation, and especially if this army itself, is the one that prosecutes people like that prosecutes soldiers who are out of line, which Israel does every single time.
Yeah, guys, so that's the situation. So, I mean, we're in the U.S., so imagine something close to home. Imagine me and AP, we're soldiers, and we live in Texas, and then a Mexican drug cartel invaded, slaughtered a bunch of people in our town, and we know a bunch of the people who were slaughtered and tortured and raped and so on. And then we're sitting there watching videos of this drug cartel, and turns out they crossed back across the border, and everyone is cheering for them, and they're dragging bodies, and everyone's beating the bodies with sticks, the bodies of people we know, and then they're taking hostages back there and doing who knows what to them and stuff. And we're looking at all this going on, and then we cross over as part of a military force to go get the hostages back and stuff. We start actually catching these guys who are involved in this situation. Guys, that's why I'm saying, when I see a situation where there's an accusation, they shove something into this guy. Are there other explanations? No, they're trying to get something out of this guy that he hid in there and stuff like this, but there are all these different accusations and so on. It's okay, I can go with the most extreme interpretation, which is they were torturing this guy by shoving stuff up his backside or something like that. One, that wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me from any military in that situation. And so, you have human beings involved. That would be a normal thing. Would not cross my mind, though, to say this is what all Israel is, or this is what all Jews are, or something like that. Not defending it. I'm saying that sort of thing happens. If you have human beings involved, you are dealing with some people who are going to agree to certain things as part of it. If you enter the military, you swear your oaths and so on. You're supposed to adhere to those. Are there people who aren't going to adhere to them exactly as they should? Yes, that's true. That's true of human nature. What you don't do is blame everyone just because they're Jews. That's what you do.
Look at that soldier hit one of those rapists. How dare they? How dare the Jews do this?
Mm-hmm. Elon here says, wow, we got Elon. Says Mehdi's rape allegations were dismissed. A prisoner claimed rape, but was debunked medically, and the rape video was proven fake by Channel 11. And that's the other thing I'd have to say. If it's some Hamas guy going, they raped me, I'd be like, okay, we're going to need some serious proof here, because you're the last person in the world I would ever trust. You guys are literally the all-time kings of making up atrocities. Lloyd says the amount of things the IDF get accused of they're almost mythical. It is true. It's just like the Jews, when Jews are controlling anything that happens in the entire world, including you tripping and falling down the stairs. It's the Jews. You see what they did. It's the same thing with the IDF. They're
you see, they
almost have magical powers. What?
They did an earthquake in Turkey the other day, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Or so.
They used their powerful Jew earthquake machine.
Yeah.
Lloyd says the Jews also have rats and trees on their side. What chance does their enemies have? You see? Yeah. I wish I could say you're just making stuff up, but we see these accusations all the time. They train lizards, they train squirrels, they poison the water supply to make Gaza girls horny so that they... So what? Why are you trying to make the Gaza girls horny? So they have more kids? Why would Israel want to do that? So they have more people to kill. You see? This Moo is happy that Hassa took the way it is now. He is happy. 40,000 innocent genocide there. That's what he calls winning. He is soulless. So talking about Mehdi there. Michael, you should have seen what we did in Afghanistan in 2002, but I'm glad you did. Perfect example. Perfect example. Are there, in Afghanistan, were there situations where some jihadi walks in there, sprays down a bunch of your fellow soldiers and stuff, and you go out and you actually get this dude and probably do some messed up stuff to him? Yep, guarantee you, but people weren't recording it on cell phones, so never became an issue. People have been recording.
I would rather go to Iraq, to give an example, which was really, really messed up. But does that mean that all Americans are a problem, or does it mean America is a problem? No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, so guys, human beings have issues. We have an overly developed sense of vengeance at certain points. And that's life. What you don't do is just condemn everybody for it. Coming with a humble heart, David, you have done so much in pulling me back into the flock. God is great. Praying for you too, AP. Both of you are amazing. God bless.
Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Person says something nice and all AP does is discourage him. It's messed up.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Your mama's so obese that when she wears a yellow swimsuit to the pool, Goat Hub users think the sun is setting in a muddy spring. I'm screenshotting that. I'll probably modify it a little bit, but I'll steal that and not give any credit to Ryan here, because that's what I do. That's what I do. I don't give credit.
That's wrong.
I actually need to I need to give video clip of someone in a yellow bathing suit. This is the proof. This is the proof that the sun does it in a muddy pool. Terrorist bragging got smacked around a bit. Yeah. And guys, by the way, no, that's funny. I'm using examples from like war and stuff. I have no experience in war. I have been to jail and prison, and I could go ahead and tell you, you really, really do something to tick off a guard, a correctional officer, they'll cross some lines to make sure you stop that. They will cross some serious lines. And it sucks because you don't have the video proof. When you try and go to their superiors and stuff and say, this guy did this all because I annoyed him. I said this, and then he came in here and did this and stuff. No one believes you. You're an inmate. So these guys get away with it. So anyway, point is, yeah, human beings, we're habitual line steppers.
If you want the evidence for that, just have you seen Prison Break, the show?
I've seen that it was a show, but I've never seen it.
But that's the proof.
Oh, I don't need the proof. I've seen it a million times, man. I like Big Zabibas. Oh, this song. I like Big Zabibas and I cannot lie. You other apologists can't deny. When an imam walks in with an itty bitty face and a round thing in your face, you get proud. Shout Allahu out. Nice. And then 3 red hearts. It's super sticker. And shout out to Songs of Relief for gifting 5 Apologetics Roadshow memberships. No, there's still a lot of this left. Let's go ahead and skip to the end here. See how they left. I don't remember who spoke last. Who was it left?
A lot and a lose.
Looks like they're arguing at the end. Let's see.
Something else
Which your
are
government is
Israelis. If it's Palestinian.
Let's see. Looks like they're arguing all the way to the
about
end.
beheaded babies, about calendars on the bottom of hospitals, about Lebanese documentaries, the number of the Israeli military lies that they've had to own up to. It's a joke. No one trusts anything Jonathan's saying.
All right, Jonathan, final word to you.
I trust him way more than I trust Mehdi.
Yeah, actually, many people do trust what I and my peers say. And many people, I think, listen to the kind of thing, the kind of goods that you peddle, Mehdi. And the goods that you peddle are Israel hatred. Sometimes it's more sophisticated and more well-founded. Sometimes it's very easy to dismantle. And it's very clear where you stand. I asked you before, and you conveniently didn't answer. What is it that you stand for? What do you represent? What
Human
are
rights,
the values that
dignity,
you stand
equality,
for? Right.
not rape
Right.
and war
If it's
crimes
human
like you
rights
stand
and
for.
dignity and equality, then I
Not racism like you hate brown people. I've said it there.
suggest that you stand equally and speak about how they're violated by the oppressive Iranian regime against the Iranian people. Speak about what the Syrian dictator does
criticized
against
Iran.
his people.
I've criticized
Speak
Qatar.
about
You
how
won't criticize
Hamas,
Israel.
how Hamas
That's the
brutalizes 2 million Gazans, and how
criticized
Hezbollah
Hamas.
deals
And I've
with
criticized the Israeli
dissenters in
military.
Lebanon.
Isn't that interesting? This is the guy who constantly complains anyone says one word to interrupt him, and he repeatedly, over and over again, like a beating drum, will not let the other guy speak.
You won't
The
criticize
problem
Piers-
Israel.
with what
The
you're
only
saying,
person here, Jonathan,
Jonathan,
who
with
won't
what
criticize
you're
their
doing,
side is you.
Mehdi, the
Not me.
problem with what you're doing, Mehdi, is that
honest.
it's very easy to listen to you less. Even though you speak eloquently and you have good sources, it's easy to listen to you less and believe to you less because it's very clear what you're motivated by. You are not something that is motivated by a true care for human beings. You care about human beings
Yes, it is.
if
That's
the
why I
ones who
support
cause
Israeli
them
innocent lives as
injustice or something else
Which your
are
government is engaged in.
Israelis. If it's Palestinians killed by Palestinians,
Actually,
then
Jonathan,
that's a non-story.
if I had my
it's
way,
Hamas
Israelis
that
would be
oppresses
dying right now.
Palestinians, you don't
Israelis
care.
are dying right now
No, if
because of
it's,
your
if
government.
it's suffering anywhere
Israelis
else,
died.
and if it
Israelis
cannot be
are dying
Piers
because of your government.
Morgan,
even
I
do
don't
on
want
your
Israelis to
your
die.
job.
logic,
I don't
then
want
you
anyone
don't
to
care
die.
about it.
You
You
do.
only care about
Piers
it.
Morgan, do
Yeah,
your job.
sorry, Pierce, just not interested, Pierce. He was jumping in earlier and saying, "Hey, why don't you give each other a chance to speak?" and so on. And then it looks like he just gave up at some point, and he can't stop Mehdi from interrupting. All right,
Hey, stupid. Why not doing your job, Piers?
take these last couple super chats, and then we'll be out. The only person who might have had semen between their backbone and ribs is Abu Bakr. What do you mean? Why not Muhammad and Diya al-Kalbi? Key says, I would love it if you stream some scenes from Prison Break and have David react to them, rate how realistic it is, and tell us prison memories. That's funny.
It's absolutely realistic. It's the most
It
realistic
is harder.
thing I've
It
seen.
is, guys, it is harder to use actual clips from TV shows and movies. Music is the most difficult. They are very quickly. You can play 5 seconds of a song and get a copyright strike or something like that. Similar with you get a little more leeway and so on for Hollywood type shows and so on. Anyway, there are varying degrees of how much content from someone else you can play. Like here, this is we watch Piers Morgan show and so on. If we were to just play the entire debate, we'd get a copyright strike. If we played probably 4 or 5 minutes of it uninterrupted without interrupting, you'd get a copyright strike. But anyway, yeah, probably be very difficult with a show like Prison Break. All right, AP, any final thoughts on any of this?
Well, I would want to say that, of course, when it comes to Prison Break, it has to be pointed out that Prison Break is entirely scientifically accurate. Other than that, on this, Mehdi Hasan is a weasel, and much respect to Jonathan Conricus. And as he pointed out, lots of people trust the IDF and trust Israel. I initially intended to wear an IDF shirt for this live stream, but then I actually forgot it.
Yep.
However,
about the
I
IDF.
fully stand with the IDF and stand with Israel and hope Israel overcomes its barbaric enemies and brings stability foremost to Israel. I don't even care about the region, just to Israel. And to protect and protects its own citizens, because that's what matters. Nobody cares about what Mehdi Hasan thinks doesn't matter. And long live Israel.
Two final here. Apostate Boohoo. That's AP's hero. What if brown people saw Jonathan Conricus here? Here they feel offended since he hates them. Be more considerate, Piers. That's right,
That's
Piers.
true.
You shouldn't allow anyone to say that stuff on your show. 'Cause
Dude.
people might get their feelings hurt. Thanks for all you do, guys. Love you a lot. Stay safe. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us here. We will not be live on either one of our channels tomorrow because I will be live for a debate tomorrow night on Modern Day Debate. That's Modern Day Debate. James will be hosting a debate between me and a Muslim name. I don't know his channel's name. I don't know what his real name is, but his channel is called Central Dawah. He's a TikTok guy, and be interesting. We'll see what arguments he has. The topic is Muhammad and the Bible. Muhammad and the Bible. So this is one of the arguments that goes back to the time of Muhammad. It's interesting because we've seen Muslims abandon several of their arguments in recent years, at least the Dawah guys. The argument from perfect preservation, they had to abandon that because we exposed it as lies. The argument from scientific miracles in the Quran, they've abandoned that because we exposed it for being a bunch of lies. There are a couple more arguments that are going to be more difficult for them to give up because they're straight from Muhammad or the Quran. Muhammad and the Quran claim that there are prophecies about Muhammad in the Torah and the Gospel. And so Muslims are glued to thinking that, but we're going to go ahead and take a look, see what kind of case they can come up with after 1,400 years.
What time are you debating live? At night?
Yeah, 8 p.m.
That's ridiculous.
8 p.m. 8 p.m. I like it because everyone always schedules the debate from when I'm sleeping, like at 1 or something like that.
Based.
But now we've got a good U.S. debate at 8 o'clock p.m. So should be fun. I don't know. Maybe we'll hear some new arguments. Maybe we'll hear some classic arguments. Maybe we'll hear some new arguments. Do not know. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Fun times. Glad for the opportunity to explore this argument.
Meanwhile, listen to the beautiful song, Yahya Sinwar is Dead. It will soon be on top of the charts, and you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, everyone go to AP's channel, check out that song, and share that song everywhere. Because hearts will melt. Hearts will melt. It will melt hearts. A very, very heartfelt message. All right, guys. Catch you all tomorrow for the debate.